Oh, one of my favorite times of the day is to always open up the show with big sales. Welcome aboard the National Football Show. And by the way, next 4 hours powered by our friends at BetUS. Now, I'm going to say this to you guys right out of the gate. Some of you sit back, relax, listen. That's what the majority of you do. By the way, just so you guys know, the amount of people that are in the chat is not an indictment on how many people actually view the show throughout the next 4 hours. It's kind of like call-in radio. That's not how you're gauged. Some of you, and majority of you, like to sit back and watch. No problem. When I did radio for 27 years, people sat back and watched. Look at Sue right out of the gate. We know this. Duh. Hey, Sue, not everybody's as smart as you. Hey, Candy Pants, not everybody is as smart as you. How you doing? Flexing, Howie can't stop us. By the way, right out of the gate, please hit the like button. You assassinated the like button yesterday, and we appreciate that so much yesterday. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like that, Candy Pants Sue. Thank you very much. Smash that like button. How you doing? All super chats go to the top. What a freaking duo last night. Wow. By the way, hold on for a minute. Paris Campbell got cut. Holy cow. What a sensational player. Oh my God. Oh my God. Paris Campbell? Okay, sure. Campbell's soup got cut. He got cut. So what? Who cares? He stinks. Did you see that duo last night? Holy cow. How about you, Candy Pants Sue? Did you see that? Did you see that duo, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry? Boy, man, I wish Philadelphia had a duo like that. I wish Philly had a duo like that. Man. Two-time MVP. A Hall of Fame running back. Man. Unbelievable. Derrick Henry, the last 5 games, has just absolutely assassinated the league. Dude, you can't stop that guy. You know what you call that guy? What was that guy's name that was in Pulp Fiction when they came in and they had to clean the body up after the kid they accidentally shot? What was Harvey Keitel's nickname that John Travolta and the other guy named? What was Wolf? Wolf. Hey, Kim, what'd I tell you? I'd follow you back over at Dan Sileo Show. Big Sills keeps his word, doesn't he? How you doing? How about that, man? Wolf. Wolf. Hey, thank you, Akbar. That dude's a closer. When you need something cleaned up, you call the Wolf in. Yeah. Imagine comparing Jalen Hurts to Lamar Jackson. Hilarious. Way better runner and passer. Really? And then the other guy, still Saquon. I had a guy on my Twitter page actually tried to tell me that Saquon Barkley's in the same room with Derrick Henry. He's never been. Derrick Henry's played on shitty teams too. That guy is unbelievable. He is really unbelievable. Derrick Henry looks better. By the way, what a subtle shot last night by Troy Aikman at the Cowboys. Hey, you know, I bet there's some teams right now that are kicking themselves for not signing that guy. And he was talking about the Dallas Cowboys. By the way, Eagles got their guy. Barkley's having a great year too. 2 best backs in the NFC. Make no mistake about it. Probably are Alvin Kamara, or no, Aaron Jones up in Minnesota. And you could make the comment that Saquon Barkley is the top running back in the NFC, and probably so. And the top running back in the AFC is clearly Derrick Henry. He's not only the best in the AFC, he's the best in football. He is the best in football. Okay? Best. I got Eagles NFC champs. That's a fucking pipe dream. Your quarterback stinks. You need a better QB. You don't have a quarterback that's a championship quarterback that's going to put you in that game every year. He's not that guy. 2000 opinion till you prove me wrong is a fluke. Until I see more consistency, it's a fluke. Get this. I don't think the Bucs are done. I think the Bucs ran into the best team in the league. There's not a team in the NFC that could beat the Ravens. That's not what. Hey, the Bucs fucking kicked the shit out of you. So are you done? They beat the shit out of you. Before you start talking, yeah, well, they did it without our guys. It didn't really matter in the Cleveland game now, did it? It didn't really matter, did it now? All right. Well, hey, yeah, that's a good call there. Evans and Godwin, you're right. That's going to play a factor in their future going forward. Absolutely. War of attrition. It's a good take. Hey, M. Reyes, help me out here. What is the betting line? What is the betting line? By the way, hey, KCA Eagle, you're right. Godwin and Evans, that's a big deal for the Bucs. You're right. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, man. Okay? It is. No question about it. We need to beat a team above 500 with effort, even if it's 24-23. Show no giving up. 2023, they gave up. Hey, I'd like to know what the betting line is on that Cincinnati game before we move forward here, because, again, that's going to be interesting here. By the way, kudos to Jonathan Gannon. Kudos, man. 4-3, or excuse me, 3-4 on the season. They beat the Chargers last night. Shane Steichen's 4-3. I don't know. These two guys are building programs in places that got horrible owners. Wow. Hold on. Really? The point spread's only 2.5? LAC 215? The point spread is 2.5 against the Bengals? 2.5. Oh, that kind of goes into our topic today. By the way, we'll break down Nick Sirianni, Vic Fangio, and also Kellen Moore. We'll take a look at those 2024 Cincinnati Bengals. Wait a minute. The Eagles are 2.5-point underdogs against the Bengals? That can't be. You're reading it wrong. No way. No way. First 10 minutes for likes. Hey, guys, please do me a favor. I'm Ron Burgundy here. Please hit the likes. Please hit the like button. Let's get the show off going. By the way, the more you hit the like button at the beginning of the program, the more it sticks it to the Eagles and Howie. Remember that. Okay? That's what I've been told by Xander. Okay? The more you hit it, it aggravates them more because that means you're here. So please hit the like button right out of the gate here. All right? So wait a minute here. The Bengals aren't favored, are they? Austin, what up, man? Appreciate it. Lamar's the second best quarterback in the NFL. Lamar's playing the best quarterback in the NFL, and he might be the second best quarterback. Okay? Can't be. Wait a minute. Anthony, are the Eagles underdogs in this game against the Bengals? Xander, is that right? Is that right? No. That can't be. That can't be. Can't be. Lamar MVP season again. Hey, he may go back to back. Get this. Struggle. Here. Who said that? Bengals struggled against the Giants. They also almost beat the Ravens. They almost beat the Ravens. As a matter of fact, the team that's been close to them, okay, the Bengals probably played the Ravens outside of that Kansas City win in the opener, probably better than any team has played them. Yes, the Eagles are 2.5-point dogs to Joe Burrow. Woo! Holy cow. Cincinnati, 2.5. Xander, come on, man. The shitty Bengals are favored over the 4-2 Eagles? How can that be? This is incredible. This is incredible. Hey, Candy Pants Sue, what do you make of that? Come on, man. Holy cow. Bengals not shitty. Oh, why? Because they're favored? Yeah, man. Whoa. Look at Dick Train. Look at Dick Train sliding on the cannoli here for a guy who sucks. I like it. I like it. All right. Let's move on. Eric Allen, the legendary Philadelphia Eagle, as promised, will be on at 3:30 Eastern time. So if you got any questions for the great Eric Allen, that'll be at 3:30 Eastern. At 4:30, our boy, the co-host of Birds 365, and John McMullen is even saying has been Sileo-ized. Xander Big Z Krauss will join us as well. As I say, super chats go to the top. Hey, Sills, last 2 wins have been against teams that have good defenses and bad offenses. So does that make a difference, or is it more about Hurts? 34, I'm gonna say this, and there's gonna be 2 sides of this answer to you, and I hate giving you 2 answers here. I don't give a shit who lines up against Philly. Go win games. Okay? Sometimes they're not going to look good. Sometimes they're not going to look bad. Just put a W up. Like, get this. The Jets can't do things like that. They can't win games. The Eagles win games. You win games. And there's no way you've played a great football game against the Giants. I mean, look. One guy had a great game. The rest of you guys didn't really play all that well on offense. A couple guys in the offensive line in the second half. Nobody played a complete game in that game except for Saquon Barkley. Offensively, wasn't like Hurts had a great game. Wasn't like anyone else had a great game. AJ was okay. It was a good game for him. I mean, outside of that, nobody played well. Shit, the other guy on the other side had -2 yards in receptions. Give me a break. The defensive guy stepped up against a football team that sucks. Okay, you did your gig. Great. By the way, I love the way that Vic Fangio talks about his defense. Okay? I do. I just love the way he keeps everything in perspective. Guys, please hit the like button. It's important to get out of the gate. It jams it in everybody's face from what I've been told. The more likes we get out of the top of the program. So please do me a favor. Crush that like button. I'm not surprised they're favored. I am a little bit, Anthony. I don't believe that the Bengals are 500 and the Eagles are 4-2 and they're not favored in this ball game. We haven't beaten a good team. Green Bay and a good quarterback. Yeah, Jordan Love is good in almost a year. Nah, man, that first game, Packers are playing good ball right now. Okay? I mean, okay? Right? So, yeah. I mean, Green Bay's good. Packers are a good football team. All right, let's start the program off and get into the topics. As I said, Sirianni, Fangio, and more are on the docket today. The 2024 Bengals are also on the docket. Let me take a look at a poll I did at Dan Sileo show. Let me take a look at this. I want to see where we are with this right now. I did a poll on Jordan Davis. Okay. Here was my poll question. Eagles DT Jordan Davis only had 12 snaps versus the Giants Sunday. And very little production at all, if any. After 3 years, is he a first-round bust? Now, notice the way I'm phrasing that. Is he a first-round bust? Yes or no? I think he is. I don't think he's an NFL bust. Okay? I don't think he's an NFL bust. But I think he's a first-round bust. Two things can be true here. He can be a good player, but he's not going to be an exceptional player. Not yet. And I put that, not sure yet. Good. Jordan Davis will be rested up for second half of the season. That's wishful thinking, Perez. Are you crazy? If anything, he'll be out of gas. Davis isn't unplayable, but we could have had Kyle Hamilton, not worth 13. Here's the deal with him. He's now in rotation. Dude, if you're a first-round pick, should you be in a rotation? Not to get the majority of the snaps? Dude, Aaron Donald wasn't rotated. Your top line defensive tackle, Chris Jones isn't rotated. They may rest. Dude, those guys get rest, not rotated. There's a difference. When you have a top line, top flight defensive tackle like a Dexter Lawrence, he's not being rotated. He's being rested. There's a difference. Please hit the like buttons, guys. It's important for us to get out of the gate strong, and I appreciate you guys. I mean, he's a rotation piece. Until proven otherwise, on October 22nd, we got to say it. Jordan Davis has been a first-round bust. Not an overall NFL bust, but he's trending there. See, that's how it goes. Where were you drafted? Okay, has he lived up to that? No. Okay, so obviously he was overdrafted. It's 3 years, folks. Folks, this is 3 years. We're not talking about 3 games. It's 3 years. It's enough. Okay? I mean, you know what it is. You can't compromise it anymore. Could he get better? I don't know. He doesn't have the skill set to get better. But still, look at the athlete he is. That doesn't mean he's a good football player or he's an exceptional football player. You could dominate in college with athleticism. You've got to dominate in the NFL with skill. That's the difference between college and pro. Athleticism can dominate. Look at Johnny Manziel. Look at Tim Tebow. You could be a great athlete in college and win. When you get to the NFL, you have to have a skill set. And if you don't have that skill set, you're not going to succeed in the NFL. There is an absolute difference. You have to have the skill. That's why in college people go, how come that quarterback didn't translate into the NFL? Well, because he didn't have the skill set to do that. He was a great athlete in college. Yeah, but how does that not translate? You've got to be able to make plays. That's the difference. Okay? See what Sills, the 2.5 line for shows that Vegas says the Eagles are inconsistent 4-2. And the Bengals are a good 3-4 team. Vegas values the Bengals' losses more than the Eagles' wins. That's good. Absolutely. This is the one time I agree. Sileo, a career backup, talking about skill. Yeah. Have you ever failed in the NFL? Then shut your fucking mouth, Jay. You would have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You play in your backyard with your jerk-off friends. And you guys play touch or flag football that you take your ties off when you're sitting there and break, when you go to work and you have lunch break. And you take your ties off and you play flag football. What would you possibly know about failing and succeeding in the NFL, dickhead? Go put your tie around your waist like you do and go play some flag football with your jerk-off friends at break. It's easy. I'm sure you're there at a nice sales place. Triggered? No. Dude, that would mean I respect you for you to trigger me. Only people that trigger me are people I respect. Why would I respect you? Why? Why in the world would I respect a guy with no picture and J? J for jerk off. Why in the world? Now go play with your boyfriends and go play your little flag football. Take your ties off, wrap them around your waist. I guarantee you, if Sue was out there, she'd knock the shit out of you with a blindside punch. How you doing? Go get him, Sue. Hit the like button. Keep that jerk off in the corner over there. There you go. Welcome aboard, Jay. Welcome aboard. I'm playing Sue at free safety. And a jerk off like Jay comes running through the line of scrimmage. Sue's going to decleat him in heels. 6 inches, too. How you doing? Sue knocks Jay out in 6-inch heels. What? And she stands over him like she's Chuck Bednarik. Get up, bitch. Go get him, Sue. That's the kind of people we have here at the JAKIB Big Sills National Football Chat. Sue goes, I don't wear heels. Oh, damn it. Damn, Sue. I do. Every dude looks good at the combine. His tape was good. Tape was good. Not great. He had very little production. On top of that, his weight issue isn't a good combo. How he reached on an athlete, not a game-changing defensive tackle. Williams has outplayed him. Absolutely. Milton has really had a nice year so far, too. Absolutely. Has had a really nice year. Hey, no, man. You kidding me? Sue's a starter on my defense. Put Sue back there. She's going to knock people out for me. She's going to be Ed Reed. She's my Ed Reed. Sills, would you try to trade Ford before the deadline? Doesn't have to be a big name. That's Samuel. A trade before the trading deadline doesn't have to be a big name. I'd like to get more help at D tackle. Okay? I'd like to get more help at D tackle. All right. So listen. Let's go here with Jordan Love here. Okay? Let's go here with Jordan Love. Or excuse me, with Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is a first-round bust. Okay? Okay? So he's a first-round bust. All right, let's move on here. Oh, by the way, our top 10 quarterbacks, our top 10 NFL teams, our MVP candidates are today as well. So we'll be doing that. God, yeah, Derrick Henry's a beast. Damn. What a great football player that guy is. All right. Let's get into Nick Sirianni. I went back and listened to his press conference. Word salad champion. You know what? If he wasn't going to be a football coach, which he's not anyway, he would be a local congressman or like somebody that serves on a local high school parent committee. That's what he would be. Because he really does do a good job when it comes to word salads like politicians do. You know what I'm saying? He'd be some councilman that deals with like the homeless or some shit like that or whatever. And he'd be on a council for like outhouse urinals or whether or not dudes and chicks should be able to urinate in the same toilet. That's the kind of guy he'd be. He'd be legislating on shit like that. You know, that's the kind of guy Sirianni would be. He'd be great at it too, because you don't know what he's talking about. Most of the time, I really don't know what most politicians are talking about anyway. So I'm like, yeah, okay. Jason, thank you, brother. All super chats go to the top. Please hit the like button. What up, Sills and JAKIB family? I think we still need to wait and see on Jordan Davis. But he's concerning for sure. I think Sidney Brown needs to be on the field. Gardner Johnson holding him back for sure and stealing money now. Gardner Johnson has been a complete disappointment so far. Okay? Get this. Here's Jessica. Sirianni's got a 667 winning percentage. That's 14th highest in the NFL. And watch this. I'll ask her. So, Jessica, would you take Nick Sirianni over Andy Reid with his win percentage in Philadelphia? Is that what you're saying? You would take him over Andy Reid then because of his win percentage. Is that right? I'd like to hear what Jessica thinks of that. Hey, that's really great. First 20 minutes, you got 140 likes. Way to go, guys. Keep it up. Jessica, you would take Andy Reid. You would take Nick Sirianni over Andy Reid then, right? Is that right? It was time. No, Jessica. I'm not asking you to expand the question. Would you take Nick Sirianni's got a higher win percentage than Andy Reid? Would you take Nick Sirianni over Andy Reid? He's got a higher win percentage. Simple question. Yes or no? I'm waiting. Well, Jessica's going by win percentage here. I mean, he's got a higher win percentage than Chuck Noll. Would you take him over him too? How many years in the NFL can say that right now? That's not the fucking question, Jessica. Would you take Nick Sirianni with a 667 win percentage? And get this. Here's that dickhead, BJ or LJ. And yet, get this. 4-2, and you're underdogs to the Bengals. How you doing? Just like Bob said, Vegas puts more on the losses of the Bengals than the wins of the Eagles because they've made the Bengals favorites by 2.5. How you doing? 2.5. You're an underdog. Jessica, so you're going to take Andy Reid or you're going to take Sirianni over Andy Reid. Is that right? Okay? You're going to take him? Yes or no? Wait a minute. Hey, by the way, let's go to Jessica's point here. Winningest coaches in NFL history. And let's see how many coaches she would take Nick Sirianni over. According to her style here with win percentage. So we'll go with that. With her win percentage. Because he's got a 667 win percentage. So let's go with win percentage. So let's go all the way down to the very top. And according to Jessica, this is who she would take Nick Sirianni over because he's got a 667 win percentage in the NFL, and he's got the 4th highest of all time right now in pro football history. So here's who she would take over. Let's see. 667. Okay. He would take him over Tony Dungy, Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin, Paul Brown, Joe Gibbs, Sean Payton, Bill Walsh, Tom Landry, Sean McVay, Mike Holmgren, Pete Carroll, Don Coryell, Bill Parcells, Chuck Noll. That's her mentality because he's got the 4th highest win percentage of all time. Okay? 4th highest. Nick can go to any team, and I would not fear Philadelphia playing him next year. He brings nothing to the playbook. You want to hear something else too? Bleed green. Colin Cowherd today on the program goes like this. The guy who's on one of the hottest seats in the NFL is Nick Sirianni, because you know why? He doesn't know what his fucking job is. The national guys are making fun of his ass. National guys are making fun of him. Think of that. It's incredible. Hey, LJ, please keep posting. You help the algorithm. Your takes blow out loud. And like Xander said, you have nothing, and you're the Nick Sirianni of posters. You bring nothing except your presence, which we thank. And we thank you. Other than that, you bring nothing. The only thing you're here to do, and we want you to do, is keep posting. Post away. I don't really care what you say. Please do it. You help us. No one's reading your shit. All I see is LJ, and I know it's dumb. I don't read your stuff. I don't care. But I love the fact that you're posting away. Continue. Thank you. I'll never read another thing that guy posts. As long as I see him in here, I love it. Thank you, dude. All right. Let's move on. Hey, encourage him, by the way. By the way, JAKIB Nation, his takes suck and they mean nothing. This guy would take Nick Sirianni over Andy Reid. He said it. So he really doesn't have anything to offer. But what he does offer is he'll post probably in an hour, 50 posts, which helps us. Thank you. In my head. Dude, you are under the impression I care about you. Really fucking funny, man. Absolutely hilarious. Hey, Lou, thank you. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. Please hit the like button, mother effers. Thank you very much. All right. We're going to get to all that here in a second. Hey, by the way, okay, don't worry. I'll get around all the stalkers that come in here each and every single day. There's a bunch of them, as you can tell who the stalkers are. So we'll get around the stalkers, and we'll make sure that we get your takes in, and we'll start reading them here. All right. How many people think this game on Sunday is going to be a challenge versus the Cincinnati Bengals? Okay. How many people think this game's going to be a challenge on Sunday? Huge challenge. Absolutely a challenge. Best quarterback they've faced all year. Would you not agree? Charlie says very tough game. Gabe, absolutely. It'll be a challenge. It's in Cincinnati. Arthur. That's right. It's on the road. Vegas also knows. Absolutely. I know everybody wants an offensive head coach, but give me Brian Flores. Guy took one of the best defenses in the league, then turned him into one of the best defenses in 3 years. He's an absolutely spectacular defensive guy, and I hope he gets another opportunity to become a head football coach again in the National Football League. I like the way Brian Flores addressed his problems that he had with Tagovailoa. By the way, we'll talk about Tua. He's coming back off of IR, and I love it. I love it so much, what he said at the podium. I thought it was sensational. Okay? It shows you the love of the game. Nick is not even coaching the team. He's not a play caller. His record is a fraud. The win percentage should go to Shane and Jonathan Gannon. It should go to the organization. And the organization even thinks that. That's why they change coaches out as much as they do. No question about it. It's why they do it. Cincinnati has a better quarterback. They have two good receivers. I think they have two really good to great receivers. Okay? Cincinnati's O-line doesn't scare me. If we get to Burrow, by the way, Cincinnati's O-line is way better than the Giants. Could be some covered sacks? Maybe. All right. So here's who the Cincinnati Bengals are as of right now. heading into this game on Sunday versus the Philadelphia Eagles. They're 13th in total offense, 332 yards a game. Their pass offense is 7th, 240 yards a game. Their run offense, it's getting better, but not where it needs to be, is 28th. They're averaging about 94 yards a game. They're 9th in scoring. They average 26 points a game. Red zone offense, they're 8th. Means once they get into scoring position, they know how to put it in the end zone. 63.2%. Third down, they're 9th. 41-2. It's a good offense, man. And they're starting to get their rhythm a little bit here. That's a good football team. Hey, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are outstanding wide receivers, and the quarterback is the best QB you'll face all year. Well, to this point, he's better than Jordan Love. Joe Burrow is an absolutely spectacular player. Spectacular player. No doubt about it. Here's where their problems have been this year, and Duke Tobin, their general manager, pulled a Howie Roseman on you. And you know what that is? They haven't addressed retooling the defense. Guys are leaving in free agency, and they're not doing a good enough job in the draft, and they're not doing a good enough job in free agency bringing players in. Total D, they're 22nd, giving up 353 yards. Not good. Pass defense, 21st. Not good. Haven't replaced Jesse Bates. Rush defense, not good when you're taking on Saquon Barkley. Scoring defense, 20th. 23-7. So they scored 26 points and give up 23. Close games. Red zone, they're 27th. And stopping opponents from getting in the end zone. 68.2% of the time when you get into the red zone, they score. Not good. And on third down D, they're 24th. Their problems have all been on that side of the ball. So what has to happen in this game? Controlled drives. But how does Cincinnati control the drives against the 16th ranked run defense, which is in the middle of the pack? They're not exceptional in stopping the run. They've got to get some type of play action going against the Eagles if they're going to have any shot at winning that football game. And that means Burrow has to keep the ball out of the hands of the offense and keep him on the sidelines, which he's very capable of doing. Okay? He's a great quarterback. And by the way, Zach Taylor has done a better job than any coach that's been in Cincinnati, maybe since Marvin Lewis, and maybe since Forrest Gregg. Okay, so he's done a heck of it. I mean, what was Cincinnati before? What were they before Zach Taylor? Now, a lot of that is going to be, Joe Burrow. Well, every single head coach is tied to a quarterback in NFL history. We were just showing you the list of the great coaches that have had quarterbacks and have been tied. It's funny, man. People always say this about Belichick, and I brought this up to you numerous times. I mean, these coaches are tied to quarterbacks. When you're talking about the old John Madden, Ken Stabler, Hall of Famer, Bart Starr, Hall of Famer, George Allen, didn't win a Super Bowl, but he had Joe Theismann and he had Sonny Kilmer. Don Shula, Bob Greasy, Dan Marino, Hall of Famers, Tony Dungy, Peyton Manning, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, Mike Tomlin, Big Ben. Go down the list here. Gibbs is the only guy with 3. Bud Grant, Fran Tarkenton, John Harbaugh. Now we're looking at Lamar, Sean Payton, Jared Goff, and Matthew Stafford, Bill Walsh, Joe Montana, Tom Landry, Roger Staubach. Goes on and on. every single head coach that's ever been anything in the NFL has been tied to a quarterback. That's the narrative. And what you have in Philly is you have a mediocre head coach and you have a mediocre quarterback. That's why you don't hang around the rim every year when it comes to winning Super Bowls. You were never in a contention last year for that thing. You're barely in it now. There's an argument whether you're going to win the NFC East still. And because you came off of Cleveland and New York, you're feeling a little better about the team. I'm not. This is the same shit we went out last year on when you were 10-1. I told you you're not that good yet. I told you were not that good, and it turned out to be true. You were not that good. All right? Not that good. So Cincinnati is going to be a test. They're going to have to get pressure on them. By the way, when you hear Vic Fangio talking about the defense, funny. He sounds like me. You know what's crazy, Xander? I say it. 4 or 5 of you get pissed at me. Vic says it. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. He says the same shit. Same stuff. All right. Eric Allen will be with us at 3:30. Please hit the like button. Super chats go to the top. Okay. So let's talk about Nick Sirianni. I went back and listened to his press conference. And as I said, the word salad machine was in high use the other day. By the way, he said on WIP, we're a run team. Well, they should be. They're second in the NFL in rushing. You're not a passing team. I wonder how A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith feel about that. So if you're a running team, why would you pay receivers $51 million? That's a lie. That guy went on the air and said they're a running team. When you have almost $100 million. No, you do. You have $100 million in 3 players. How are you a running team? The money doesn't equal that. How are you a running team when you pay one guy $35 million, the other guy $25 million, and you got a quarterback that makes $51 million? How in the world are you a running team? Barkley, get this. You know what Saquon Barkley is doing to the Eagle management? He's bucking the trend. I don't think they thought he'd be that good. But they're winning games because of him. And you know what they're being forced to do? Give it to him. They have to give it to him. Because you know what everybody in the media and all of you fans will say? The guy's fucking in the same area code right now with Derrick Henry and leading the league in rushing. And you're going to go away from that? That's incompetent coaching. And it is. That guy's forcing their hand. He's forcing their hand. You want to hear something crazy? Saquon Barkley has never gotten out to this start in his entire career. In his entire career, he hasn't got out to this fast a start. Okay? Prince says it's funny how everyone said Saquon wasn't an impact player because he's never been. He never lived up to being the second pick in the draft. And people go, well, wait a minute. He was on a sorry-ass Giants team. Okay, Derrick Henry was on a sorry-ass Tennessee team. And he carried that team to the AFC Championship game with Ryan Tannehill. And I give it to you, Prince. They did not build a team around him. This is the best start. I want to take a look at something here on Barkley too, by the way, because I think Barkley might be on the same pace that Derrick Henry is when it comes to being a 2,000-yard rusher. I don't think he's ever rushed for 1,400 yards or more in his entire NFL career. I don't think he has. He's got to be on pace up there for 1,800 yards. Yeah, that's what it is. He's on pace for 1,864 yards. Henry's on pace for about $2,000. Okay? He's on pace for 14 touchdowns. Derrick Henry's on pace for about 24 touchdowns and 2,000 rushing yards. Without a doubt, okay? Without a doubt, he's having an impact season. Sills, I don't want to talk about the Canes right now. A.J. Brown had them in the AFC Championship game. No, not A.J. Brown. A guy with 60 catches had him in the AFC title game with his, 900 yards catching? Are you under the impression, David, that A.J. Brown put great numbers up in Tennessee? He never did. You fucking drunk? The most he ever had was 68 catches and like 1,100 yards one year. Most of them were pedestrian numbers. They were terrible. Not terrible, but they were pedestrian in Tennessee. He didn't put up big numbers. Derrick Henry put up 1,900 years. Okay, so when you're saying that A.J. Brown put them in the AFC title game, that's an absolute fucking lie. He was a non-factor on that team in so many ways. By the way, Tennessee didn't know how to use him. Tennessee did not know how to use him. So once he got away from them, that's why the general manager got fired. Seals, when you pay an O-line like ours and have a running back like Barkley, why not use them to their strengths? It could open up more options to put into the RPOs or play action. Abe, common sense, yes. Okay? Seals, Saquon, that's a great topic. Let me ask you, that's a great topic, Trevor. I really like this. Seals, Saquon Barkley might be the best thing to happen to the Eagles, making them question the analytics. That's right. It makes them bring back the RPO. Hey, Trevor, do you agree with me that Barkley's start to this year, where he's on pace to break the all-time franchise rushing record, has put the analytics people and the offensive coordinator and the head coach kind of on the hot seat? You better use them. You better utilize the O-line, and you better utilize the back, because the guy who's having the best year so far in the Eagle huddle offensively is Saquon Barkley. Why in the world would you go away from that? Why would you go away from that? Why in the world would you go away? Why would you go away? I'll make this point to you. Let's throw this out there. You think Saquon Barkley could be a bigger impact this year than A.J. Brown? He is right now. He is right now. And that would make them run the ball more. That would make them run the ball. Okay? Guys, please hit the like button. Eric Allen will join us. Eagle Hall of Famer at 3:30. Hopefully one day Pro Football Hall of Famer will join us. Let's continue here. He made a comment about Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. As of right now, October 22nd, they look like good picks, especially Mitchell. This is what you get here with Nick, where Nick lies for the front office and Vic tells the truth. And I'll make the point to you here. Someone brought up the fact that Jordan Davis only had 12 snaps. 12 snaps for the third. Get this. 12 snaps for the 13th pick in the NFL draft. 12 snaps, and he's healthy. That's absurd. Fifth-year option. Are you out of your mind? Fifth-year option. You got to be kidding me. I wouldn't pay that guy nowhere near $6 million a year. He's not worth it. I can get a turd to play what he's doing. He's a non-factor. And Nick goes, it's just the way the game played out. So he's a rotation piece. Dude, like I said, when you're an elite player, you get rest. And you get rest and all the reps. You're not a rotation guy. You're not a rotation dude. This guy here is not living up to anything. Hey, let's take a look at him and go into the Eagles. Let's take a look at what he's done so far this year and take a look at what his numbers are on the season so far for the 13th pick in the NFL draft and what he's not done for the team here. Let's take a look at them. And let's take a look at their stats here. Here we go. Jordan Davis has 9 tackles, 1 sack, 3 TFLs. Here, Milton Williams has the same amount of tackles, 1.5 sacks, 3 TFLs, and he's a 3rd rounder. Booker has 12 tackles, 0.5 sack, 2 TFLs. Jalen Carter, 14, 3 sacks. That's pretty good, actually. I mean, right now, let's see what Carter's trending to and what he's trending. He's trending to 8.5 sacks. I said that number. He'd be around that number, 8.5 sacks. Jordan Davis is a turd. And he should be a topic of conversation with Howie. Howie, here's another busted draft pick, along with Derek Barnett. No question, Nick, without a doubt, likes what he's seeing when it comes to Jalen Hurts and setting the protections. I thought that was a good comment. But once again, not really anything, to say the least, when it came to any kind of breakdown here of what you were looking for. Okay? Let's get to Vic Fangio now. By the way, please hit the like button, guys. Super chats all go to the top. He said that Quinyon Mitchell wants an interception, comes up to him all the time, and is working so hard to try to get his first INT. He wants it. He loves the way the guy's work ethic is. And he loves the fact that the kid is really playing a lot of snaps for him. This is the interesting part here. I think Vic Fangio just absolutely does not like Bryce Huff. He was asked a question about Nolan Smith. And Nolan Smith, this is what he said, continues to improve. You know, he's not the biggest guy on the planet. He's not the biggest guy. But, you know, he had a play in there where he showed some power moves. And at the end of the day, he's showing improvement. When they brought up Huff to him, he said this. You know, he had moments, you know. And he looks at him like I did. Xander and everybody. And I don't blame Xander, and I'm not picking on him, and I'm not picking on John or anybody else. Vic wasn't impressed with his game this past week against the Giants, and nor was I. He had a sack. He got around the horn. He's a rotation piece. You paid him $18 million to be a rotation piece. So you got 2 rotation pieces, the 13th pick and an $18 million guy. That's kind of sad. I mean, Bryce Huff is a non-factor on your defense still to this moment. And what you guys are clinging to is hope that this guy's going to turn it around here. That's not how Vic's talking. Because when he talks about someone, okay, when he talks about someone on the team that's picking their game up. Okay? I mean, this guy has nothing good to say about Bryce. I don't think I've ever heard him say anything good about him. Sidney Brown. I love what he says. The guy needs to practice more. Before you find a role, that means someone has to come out. And what's his role? I don't know. I don't either. Is he going to take Gardner Johnson's spot? Probably. I told you, that's probably their dream, and their wet dream is to have him replace Gardner Johnson is awful. The money that you invested this year, Howie Roseman, has been a colossal fuck up. The $8 million you spent on Gardner Johnson is worthless. The $18 million you spent on Huff is worthless. The 11.2 you're paying James Bradbury, look at the money you have with no production. Huff, Gardner Johnson, and Bradbury. All that money that you spent are whiffs. They're whiffs. Chip and Bird says that Gardner's a cornerback. No, he's not. He could never get on the field in Philly or in New Orleans as a corner. He's not a corner. He could never get on the field at corner. Get this. Here. African Surf says you're not going to change our minds on how he stopped trying. I don't have to change your minds. All I have to do is point out the failures. I don't have to point. I'll just point out the failure. And you can gloat over it, or you can ignore it, or you can try to make it into a positive all you want. Bryce Huff's an $18 million failure. Gardner Johnson is an $8 million failure. James Bradbury's an $11.2 million failure. I don't care how you slice it up. What? Bradbury's not playing. Huff's non-factor. And CJ stinks this year. Whatever. Those are all Howie moves. It's not about changing your opinion. It's about pointing out his failure. I mean, not that hard. By the way, anytime African Surf, you bring up Howie Roseman in defense, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. That's a fact. This is what he said about Cincinnati. Quarterback, wide receivers, top-notch players, some of the best in the league. Run game is getting better over the last couple weeks. Hey, by the way, get this. Here's another comment. Someone asked if Jordan Davis is handling his role. Vic Fangio goes, yeah, he's handling it. He has to. Because he's being, get this. Can you imagine sucking so bad that you have to be put in a role of rotation because you never lived up to what you were drafted to do? And you have to deal with that. That's what the reporters are asking him. And Vic goes, yeah, he's dealing with it. And he's fitting right in. He has to fit in or not fit in or move on. Hey, that at the end of the day is a reality check for Jordan Davis. Son, you're not that good. You're a rotation piece. Vic tells you who you are with your playing time. It's a fabulous method. I don't have to holler at you. I don't have to scream at you. I don't have to really get in your ass about anything. Your playing time's going to dictate it. Booker gets more playing time now, and Milton Williams gets more playing time than Jordan Davis. I see someone put Doghouse in here. Doghouse? You're in the proverbial lack of playing time doghouse. That's where you are. Not praising Chip Kelly, but Chip knew Howie was a meddler and couldn't identify talent. That's why he wanted him across the building. Hey, Jan, I'm going to bring this point up to you, and I know that this is always a sore spot. Brian Kelly got rid of Deshaun Jackson, and he got rid of Shady McCoy. 2 years later, they won the Super Bowl because they were trying to clean out the roster and get out of those contracts and you won a Super Bowl without those guys. Those guys were not going to bring you a Super Bowl. They weren't going to bring, and they didn't. Those guys are great Eagles, great players, signature players in the franchise's history. But just like Kansas City, think about this. Kansas City got rid of Tyreek Hill. If Kansas City can get rid of Tyreek Hill and win a Super Bowl, the Eagles can get rid of Shady and Deshaun Jackson and win a Super Bowl. That's exactly what happened. Hey, that is not a friendly comment or a topic, but it's true. Facts are reality. Facts were the reality. Sills, Rams and Vikings are in serious talks for Stafford. How we jump on this as soon as possible. I'm sending Hurts, Bus Davis, and a bologna sandwich right now. The Rams, moving off of Stafford, they just restructured his contract, so they're easy to move him right now. They're getting Cooper Kupp back, though, this week. Could they deal him before the draft? Or, the trading deadline? Boy, moving a franchise quarterback like that at the trading deadline, I mean, that would be a reach. But desperate teams do desperate things, okay? So potentially, we'll see. We'll see, okay? Hit the like button here. Let's continue here. How about this? Someone asked him about Bryce Huff. Yeah, I'm seeing little improvement. Your $18 million project. He's seeing a little improvement. He's seeing little improvement. Jesus. Would you really ever want your coach talking about you like that? I see very little improvement. I mean, you got to be kidding me, right? I see very little improvement. I mean, I see a little improvement. He's concerned about Cooper DeJean being on special teams. Should be. Kid's a good player, though. I want to play him in every single position I could possibly play him. Quinyon Mitchell. This is a great compliment. He's getting better and better and better every week. This is a guy that drafted Patrick Surtain, who I consider one of the top corners in the game, and he drafted him in Denver. This is really a great sign. In a position that has 62% failure rate, corner, you may have yourself a corner for the first time in 25 years or since Howie was drafted. It'd be the best guy that they drafted at corner, okay, in Howie Roseman's time. Every other corner he's drafted has been a bust. This could be the best that he's drafted. The kid looks good and continuing to get better. Do veteran quarterbacks pick on him? By the way, Burrow will be going at him with Jamar Chase. Bobby Taylor was not drafted by Howie Roseman. Yeah, so once again, try listening, Real Zeal. Okay? Howie Roseman. Okay? And know this. Once again, their failures in the draft have been on defense in the draft and Howie's picks. Okay? Flexen says one draft doesn't make. No, it doesn't. And his quarterback comments about quarterback factory is a joke. What quarterback has he developed into being a superstar quarterback? They're shooting stars, then they medal, then they blow them up, then they trade them. And Chip and Bird says just defense. Yeah, pretty much. Andre Dillard and Rager are all covered by other good picks on offense. Yes, it's true. He does a nice job on the offensive side. He also does a nice job, like I said, in pro personnel. I think he finds other people's mistakes and he brings them in or makes trades. Seals, they're going to line up Chase on Slay because they are seeing he's underperforming. Well, John McMullen said it on the pregame show that Slay doesn't really, if he is going to be the guy, but he's going to be the one traveling. And I don't see them traveling. So Chase is going to move all over the field, in my opinion. I would like to see DeJean and Brown in the backfield, see what they can do. I know they spent money on CJ. I want to see my rookies play to see what they have. Polsky, I agree. Prince, visit the locksmith if you want to borrow. If you want to borrow. Visit the locksmith if you want to borrow. Play on words, I'm assuming. Okay. Dude, you don't have anybody to lock that guy down. You got to get pressure on him. You got to move him around, Prince. You got to move him around. You got to get him off his point. He's one of those quarterbacks that likes to get to a spot. I'll tell you this, that Zach Taylor guy does a pretty nice job. He does a pretty nice job at moving him into position for him to be able to be his success. He does a nice job with that. So it'll be interesting. Kellen Moore now. Mitchell? Probably. Kellen Moore said that Barkley and Hurts are working together, and without a doubt, those guys are having great conversations week in and week out. It was asked to him, Kellen Moore, about Devonta having -2 yards. You know what I love about it? He goes, yeah, that's just the way it worked out. Can you imagine Devonta Adams or Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle or Stephon Diggs or any of these guys, A.J. Brown? Shit, he bitched about the Giant targets. And he still had his catches and his yards. And he was still bitching. Get this. He was still bitching, got the majority of the targets. And here's a guy that had -2 yards. And get this. You hear nothing out of him. You hear silence out of Devonta Smith. He's such a fucking pro. He's such a pro, man. What a pro. It's absolutely great. Such a pro. Dude, Pickens too, right, Crowley? Shit, Pickens moans and he's the primary target guy. Shit. Forrest says something of a wet dream here. Imagine Marino in this offense. He'd throw for 800 yards a game. He'd throw for 800 yards. Devontae's a role model for these young players. Absolutely. Absolutely. Somebody has to step up and be a leader on that team because Hurts and AJ aren't leaders. So Barkley will have to step up. Barkley, I think, has stepped up. Eagles still suck, though. Matthew, what team you root for, my friend? Let me guess, the Ravens. They looked good last night. Okay, hey, that's a good take right there, too. Smitty's a role model for older players. He's a role model for everybody. He's a great leader, dude. There's no question about it. I did not think that guy was going to be able to hold up. And by the way, one of the things that Kellen Moore said that was cool, he goes, you should watch him on film in the run game and how he blocks in the run game. He goes out there and he is, without a doubt, he goes out there every game, and every time we ask him to do something, that guy is there and he does it. I love the guy. Honestly, the only person who hasn't showed up is Jalen Hurts. Smitty's depending on Jalen. The injury kind of too, Prince, you got to kind of give him a little bit of a pass. A little bit here. You see the video of Barkley who let the young kids eat? I saw the video. I thought it was cool. I reposted it on my Twitter page. I thought it was cool. And I thought it was cool of Sirianni. Going over and asking him the way he did. And put it in his lap because, let the young guys eat. I thought it was a great leadership role. Seals, I was expecting Kellen to be much more innovative. Very underwhelming. Is that because we're still looking at Sirianni's crap offense? No, it's because your quarterback is not who you think he is. AJ will fold when adversity hits. I don't think his attitude gets in the way of that. The only thing that his attitude gets in the way of is just the way he talks, making it seem that his targets are just as important as wins. Okay? Is your football mindset who should the Eagles take light that they play this season? Not sure what you're talking about. Umberto Sills, would you think Nolan Smith has given himself more time now with his recent uptick in production? Yes. That's a great take. Umberto, that's right. You build equity up. Thank you, Mike. 200 likes. Way to go, guys. Let's keep it going. Thank you. Hey, Umberto, that's a spectacular take. Absolutely. That's how you get yourself back into graces with an organization. You start showing production, guess what they do? They start showing faith. And they start doing that in playing time and starting. That's why Booker is getting more reps than Jordan Davis. Is because Vic is getting more comfortable, and so is Clint Hurt with Booker over Davis. Production is making the depth chart here. And I love this because you know why? Just because you were drafted first doesn't mean you're starting. It's a great way to coach. Sills, it's not the coach. Jalen can't see the field. Sills, it's not the coach. Jalen can't see the field. Yes. He can't read defenses. Okay? He can't. What team should they take light as a team they play this season? Nobody. They can't take anybody lightly. They don't have a football team to take anybody lightly. They're underdogs against Cincinnati going into this game. Big Sills' run game will bring back the RPO and play action. Clairvoyant. I think Barkley's forcing their hand, which means the one-read pass will happen. Jalen, wide receivers will get better because of Barkley. Correct. Get this, Clairvoyant. You had two Pro Bowler running backs the last 2 years, DeAndre Swift and Miles Sanders. You think there's any coincidence to that? That team was based off of running attack? Dude, the quarterback has not gotten better in 2 years. And I can't believe people don't see that. Or how about this? Refuse to fucking say that. He hasn't gotten better in 2 years. I don't know why you can't say this. Nobody in Philadelphia will say that the quarterback hasn't gotten better in 2 years. He's not gotten better. Hey, Bob, you think that guy's gotten better? Even Prince is saying the only guy that hasn't showed up has been Jalen. Jalen Hurts has not gotten better in 2 years. Where are you, Bob? Here you go. So it's the best weapon we have to stop Burrow and Chase is our running game. Yes. The Cincy team is too talented to let them stay on the field. They're close to a breakout, and it can happen against us. That's what Vegas is saying. Vegas is saying this right now, Bob. Bob, I can't believe that Cincinnati is favored over the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't believe that. Okay? Look at this guy. Stills, you idiots are so narrow-minded. Barkley needed the Eagles as much as the Eagles needed him. Saquon Barkley never lived up to the talent that he was drafted in New York. End of story. Well, Sills, they didn't build a team around him. That's not his fault that he went to a shitty organization. It's what happens when you get drafted. I got drafted to the Bucks. You think I wish that I got drafted to the 49ers back in the day, or the Rams, or the Steelers, or good teams? When you're a draft pick and you're at the top of the draft in each round, you go to shitty teams. You go to shitty organizations. Hoping that hey, how about this? Let me show you this. Hoping the Eagles win enough to keep Sirianni. How about this? Do you think Joe Burrow turned around the Bengals? Mike, hey, do you think Joe Burrow turned the Bengals around? Cincinnati Bengals have been a train wreck. He went to a shitty team. He was the number 1 overall pick. He's made the Bengals better. The one common denominator, they've always had decent receivers. TJ Houshmandzadeh, Chad Johnson, Carson Palmer, quarterback. I guess. No defense. Joe Burrow gets there to go to a Super Bowl. Goes to 2 AFC championship games. You think there's any coincidence to that? When healthy, the Bengals are a formidable team? Or no? Or you idiots think that just happenstance? Great players turn great organizations around. Sills, what will it take for Laurie to recognize that running the ball will get us a better chance to the Super Bowl? In 17-22, we are dominant in a run game. Isn't that funny? Both those teams that won the NFC were dominated by the running backs, but the owner, again, has this infatuation that he wants to have Tom Brady because he's in love with New England, or he looks at now Kansas City. You know one thing I'm going to say about Andy Reid? Okay? And you guys tell me if you agree. By the way, Sylvan, thank you very much for coming aboard. I appreciate it, brother. Just hypothetically, if you could, who would be a great fit at quarterback for the Eagles in your opinion? Josh Allen. Kyler Murray. I'm not saying this one, but thanks, 304. Mahomes. Jordan Love. Like that? Those kind of guys. Let me say this about Andy Reid here. The Kansas City Chiefs are one of the best organizations in all of football and have been since Lamar Hunt. Anybody with a freaking arm is Xander's take. Kyler Murray won a ball game last night, kid. Hey, by the way, Andres, Jalen Hurts is not better than Kyler Murray this year. Kyler Murray's getting better. Kyler Murray's getting better. He's getting better. Lamar Hunt in Kansas City has always been a great franchise. Been a great franchise. Andy Reid's made him better. All the shit that he did in Philly, he's taken to Kansas City and made him better. Okay? He has. Look at this guy. What's Kyler Murray's record, Sills? It's under 500. He happens to work just like Joe Burrow for two of the worst owners in all of football. The Bidwells and the Browns. Yeah. And they're still competitive and winning. I mean, when healthy, he won 11 games in a division with Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and Pete Carroll. He's pretty good. By the way, dude, Jalen Hurts hasn't gotten better in a year and a half. Stay with me, Sean. Hey, Sean, Say it with me. How many people in here believe that Jalen Hurts has gotten better in a year and a half? How many people think he's gotten better? I'm the only one saying this because everyone's afraid. How many people believe that Jalen Hurts has gotten better in a year and a half? That's why you pay a guy $50 million? Hurts looks better when he does less? That's quite a comment, but true. It's a great take. Hurts has not gotten better, but this might be the first time in his career where he's learning traditional quarterback skills. Bob, hey, you know the football IQ that he is missing takes time to develop. Well, then why'd you pay him $50 million if you know that he lacks these skills? Bob, why would you pay for that when you know he can't play the position? Why in the world would you do that? How about this? Do you think the Eagles win in spite of Hurts? If you had any other competent quarterback that could throw you out of trouble who has 2 turnovers, dude, you can't have turnovers because you won't win. Patrick Mahomes could have 10 turnovers in a game and win. You have to play a clean game to beat the Browns. Think about that. You got to play a clean game to beat the Browns. Crazy. Even Vegas is like 3-4 Bengals are better than you. How about that? Vegas and Atlantic City are saying the 3-4. You know how all you guys post the record and all that stuff? It's not the people with the money think. The people with the money think a 3-4 team's better than the Philadelphia Eagles. What's that tell you? What does that tell you? You're overhyping the 4-2 like you did a year ago. Some of you are going down the same route as a year ago. Do you understand this? You're going down that same Titanic shipping lane that you did a year ago. Well, we're 4-2. People with the money look at you and think a team that's 3-4 is better than you. Eagles, one of 3 teams interested in Cooper Kupp. Why? You need help on defense. 10-1. I've never seen a quarterback not see open guys in his line of sight. Yeah, like Barkley, you're talking. You even heard Mark Sanchez go, he was wide open and Hurts held on to the ball too much. 3-year starter can't see guys waving their arms 8 yards away. Mikey, I know. He's just not as talented as people think he is. And I've never thought he was. Seals, the following are some of Howie's shit moves in the past 2 to 3 years. Morrow, Cunningham, Bird, Huff, Davis, Bradbury, Gardner-Johnson, Taylor, Kaiser, Bradley, Marcus Epps, TJ Edwards, and more. A lot of personnel to let go like that, man. Devontae on the play before the 4th down TD was wild. Smith was wide. I know, man. Guy's ridiculous. Can you imagine that, though? Hey, Bob, think about that. Vegas thinks a 3-4 team's better than you. Sills, I wouldn't have paid him $50 million if I knew we wouldn't have kept the scheme he was succeeding in. But they built him up instead of rebuilding him. He'd be better off. Absolutely. Absolutely true. Absolutely. Instead, what they've done is, Bob, you're talking to me about skill set stuff that he still has to learn because they're trying to teach him something else. I mean, come on here. All right. You know, I've looked forward to this. Man, should I put my Rancho Bernardo hat on? I wonder if I should put my Rancho, my RB. This was about, let me think here. This was about, I don't know, about 4 years ago when my daughter was playing rugby. And I saw Eric Allen over at Rancho Bernardo. And I think Eric Weddle's the coach now there at Rancho. And Eric used to come on my program all the time. Or not Eric, Eric Weddle used to come on my program all the time when he played for the Chargers. And now he's the head coach, I believe, still over at Rancho. And I saw Eric Allen, and I'm like, dude, he had the family with him. All the kids were with him. I was like, man, that dude looks like he's enjoying retirement. But I have to show him this as I bring him on here. Let me get this board here. I want to show him this because I think he'll appreciate it. I know you guys have seen this, but the city of Brooksville, okay, sent this to me. Many of you know the story. And Jerome used to have a golf tournament in Brooksville. And look at all the Eagle guys that used to show up. Reggie used to show up. By the way, all of us were at the funeral. I've got that thing up. Here's the guys that showed up. Some of the guys just at this one: Clyde Simmons, Seth Joyner, Andre Waters, Keith Jackson, my former teammate, Daryl Fullington. Many of you have seen this too. We were all pallbearers at Jerome's funeral with Augusta. We were all there that day. And we put our friend to rest. You should have seen Chris Carter and the Eagle guys, all in tears. Everybody. We all threw our ties in to the casket that day. It was crazy. But football brings us together. That's the coolest thing about being a teammate. And guess what? You guys know that I've been petitioning Eric Allen to get in the Hall of Fame, and I'm on board of directors of many people who put the information together for the Hall of Fame. Rick Goslin, we got Jason Cole, Jared Bell. I think we've got those guys on board with us. There's a bunch of other guys that we've talked about. Eric Allen, why isn't EA in the Hall of Fame? Well, let's bring him up now. Truly one of the great legends of all time. And there he is right there. I love the picture in the background. Eric, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. And it's always very sentimental when you start talking about JB, and just way too young for our guy to have passed away. And those great defensive teams we had on the football field, we were so tight off the field, as you know. I mean, we hung out in the off season, always, kind of contributed to, whatever was going on in that person's neighborhood or, his community. So those were great times, and times that whenever you see players on the football field, and they start talking about, dominance and stuff, always kind of harken back to some of the guys who I was fortunate to play with back there in Philly.
Eric, do you think gangrene during that time when you had the 85 Bears, the Lawrence Taylor Giant teams, those 49er defensive teams, because of the lack of a championship, do you think that sometimes when you look at those guys, because I remember one year, and I was playing in the league at the time, if I'm not mistaken, that gangrene defense had given up the least amount of points, least amount of rushing yards, least amount of passing yards. All pros across the line of scrimmage were just insane at every single level that Buddy had built. I mean, and in your opinion, do you think that kind of takes away or took away from the acknowledgement of what that defense really was back in those times? Because it was a spectacular defense.
Yeah, Dan, that's exactly true. Unfortunately, that year, and I think you were alluding to 1991, we finished across the board number one in every major defensive category. And I think our plus minus turnovers was pretty high. And come to mind, we were dealing with quarterback issues. Randall had got hurt, so we were kind of juggling quarterbacks. But defensively, we knew what type of team we had to be in order to, get our team to be in that running at the end of the year. I'm not even sure we made the playoffs. We won 10 games that year, but just the dominance And it all started, of course, up front. And when you have a player the caliber of Reggie White, who not just me, but I mean, I've heard Lawrence Taylor recently just say that, you know, he was the best defensive player he's ever saw. And, you know, I'm in the film room with him all the time. And it's just amazing what he was able to do and what teams were forced to have to do to kind of counteract, you know, him and Jerome. And then you had Clyde on the other side, who was kind of coming into his own, was a tremendous pass rusher with great length. Then the second level, you know, Byron is funny. You know, we called him B&E, Byron Evans. He was from the University of Arizona. And it took him a while to kind of get all of the checks and everything, because at that time, Buddy Ryan had instituted what we call an AFC, which means automatic front and coverage. So we didn't call the defense until the offensive formation was set at the line of scrimmage. So we didn't have a, you know, earpiece in our ear. Not that I'm saying that's bad, but so it was up to every member of the defense to understand what was going on offensively, what formation they were in, what the situation of which the situation was. So we'd have to all be on the same page. So imagine that, 11 guys having to look at the formation, figure out what's going on, know the check, know the call. And we were basically, you know, out there all kind of responsible for being on the same page at the same time. So Byron Evans in the middle, then the great Seth Joyner, man. And, you know, people talk a lot about Hall of Fame and things like that. And there hasn't been the type of player at the linebacker spot other than probably Derrick Brooks, who blitzed, rushed, covered, called defenses. The responsibility a lot of the times was on Seth. And just the bigger the stage, the bigger the moment, he definitely showed up. And then we had to play complementary football because they would max protect a lot of times. And so that means keeping in, you know, the tight end and utilizing the running backs. So I thought it was my responsibility, if they're going to max protect, to have to cover the best guy, whether it's Chris Carter or Sterling Sharp, Jerry Rice, it doesn't matter. So I would have to cover that guy, so the quarterback would have to wait and we can get a sack. So it was great chemistry, great complementary football, and it's just a shame we weren't able to kind of have that and then Randall at the same time playing at his high level.
How about this, Eric? When you talk about a guy like Seth Joyner, I've said this before to him and about him, is that he was probably the first Tampa 2 style cover linebacker that could do all the things like you said, because, you know, again, Tony Dungy and the Tampa 2 was all discovered there, and all Mike Tomlin and those guys were all in Tampa with Monty Kiffin, and Shazier, who was in Pittsburgh before he got injured, was one of those cover 2 type of guys. You guys really had versatile type defensive football players on that defense. Andre Waters, Wes Hopkins, all big stickers. I mean, I wonder though, Eric, how many of those guys couldn't play in today's NFL with the rules on being not able to hit the guys today coming across the middle? And I tell people this all the time, Eric. These wide receivers have big mouths. I'm like, you think you're going across the middle? When you got guys like Eric Allen and Wes Hopkins and those guys like Andre Waters coming across the middle, that's not happening across the middle. I just wonder how many of those dudes could play today in the NFL.
I tell you, Dan, funny story is early in games, we'd be playing the Atlanta Falcons. And of course, you know, I'm guarding Andre Rison, who I love. Dre is just an amazing dude.
By the way, he coaches high school up in Detroit now.
Yes,
you know, he's doing a good job up there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job up there. So, you know, we're coming early in the game. I'm like, Dre, you know, Andre Waters didn't have a good night last night, man. You know, things not going well. He's kind of moody. So by all means, you can go on the inside if you want. You can run this slant. I'm going to give it to you. You can run that dig. I'm going to give it to you. So it's up to you if you want to go in there and risk, you know, the rest of the season for yourself, you know, with him and Wes Hopkins. And they didn't want any of that. They didn't want any of that noise. And you're right. Those two guys also have passed away way too soon. But there is no doubt that those guys could not play in the National Football League today with the type of hits, the type of game they played, and those were tremendous assets for our football team. I'm going to go back one and tell you this. Seth Joyner was not a cover 2 corner. No disrespect to any of those guys. Seth was, at this moment, he was basically a nickel linebacker. So now, with the personnel packages that most teams run, they run 11 personnel, which means 1 running back, 1 tight end. So that third linebacker, you have your Mike, who's always in the game. You have your Will linebacker, who's usually lined up to the weak side. And then you usually have your Sam linebacker, who's on your strong side. Today's game, you really don't play a lot with 3 linebackers. It's just normally 2 guys. Seth gave us the opportunity to play with 3 linebackers because he would go out and cover the tight end man-to-man. He would go out and cover the running back man-to-man. He would drop in the zones in a 3-receiver set, and he's on the 3rd receiver side. So no disrespect to any of those guys in cover 2, Tampa 2, which is an incredible defense. And for a linebacker, you have to have tremendous skill set to be useful in that. But Seth was more than that. Seth was a cover guy, a man-to-man guy, a blitzer, a play caller. I mean, he was just an incredible, just all-around football player. And it doesn't matter what era, what year, you can drop him into any era, and Seth was going to be able to be a very effective football player. Mind you, I think he was like a 9th or 10th round draft choice, something crazy like that, So just have so much respect for players who are very versatile and can be big time players in any system.
What was it like playing for Buddy Ryan? He came down to the University of Miami the first year he got the Eagle job in '86, and Jerome was still in college with me at Miami. And I'll never forget, your former owner, Norman Brayman, who owns a Cadillac dealership, who I still know, and I know he gets a lot of hell from Eagle fans for not spending the money and getting Jim Lachey, the whole 9 yards. I know the whole story. Keith Byers told me he set it up and everything. I got it. But we knew he was going to Philly because, Buddy came down, sat with us. We did about 3 hours, and he did it for 2 years. He came down. So get off your ass. It was like, we're number 1 in the country in defense. What's he saying? I don't know what and you're like, but he was a really demanding, but he was a really innovative guy on how he knew how to put players in positions and create roles for them. Just talk a little bit about him and what the influence he had on your game and the influence he had on the league, you think?
Another coach who should garner some Hall of Fame opportunities because of how he helped change the game of football. All right. So you get to, the 85 Bears, and we kind of understand how dominant they were and just put so much pressure on the quarterback to have to be effective with everyone on the line of scrimmage basically covered. So when I got to Philly, all I heard was, this Eagle defense is going to be a little different from the 46. And so as you're going through the process, there's just so much information from a defensive standpoint that his players had to memorize, had to be on top of. So that was the first thing. As a player in the system, you had to be responsible for as much as any player or any system that I'd ever been in and ever heard about. And again, I go back to the AFCs and the BTFs. BTF is blitz the formation. So again, Buddy would give a hand signal, and that meant blitz the formation. So every player had to be on the same page and see the same thing. So that means the week of preparation, the film preparation you have to put in that required you to be successful. And Buddy was the architect of that. So he forced you to be a heads-up player, to be a cerebral player, not just a physical presence. So you had to be a combination of this physical guy who we wanted, because he was a Marine guy and he wanted the physical nature of football to be front and center, but also the mental aspect of football. He encouraged and he wanted his players to be smart ball players and to be effective once we were all on the same page, I just kind of sit back and sometimes think about Buddy was so proud of all his players that he evaluated. And sometimes the evaluation process was more about your mental aptitude more than your physical presence. So he had respect all around the league. You knew that the coaches who were facing us knew that they were going to be in a dogfight defensively, and it was going to come down to, basically if they can outsmart our defense at times, and very rarely did that happen defensively. So just a lot of respect. And even today's game, whenever you see every offensive lineman covered, there's different names for it. I work for the Raiders now, and we have a package called the Rhino package. It's not the Rhino package. It's basically an Eagle defense. Your center is covered, your two guards are covered, and your ends are outside in like a 9 technique. You bring your strong safety down the box because your linebacker is over the tight end. It's the Eagle defense. It's Buddy's defense. Still today, 2024, we're running similar defenses to a guy who started and created that back with the Jets with Weave Eubanks, back in the 1960s. So Buddy Ryan's impact on this football game is still felt.
Do you agree that what made you guys special, and I had talked to Jerome about this, is that every single one of you didn't just have to know your responsibility. You had to know the guy's responsibility that was playing next to you. And I remember Seth telling me this about Jerome. Jerome would turn around and go, "I'm gone, I'm gone, I'm gone." And he'd go like this, "What do you mean you're gone?" And that means he'd have to get him because Jerome would shoot the gap or something.
Yeah,
but the communication that you guys had, it was essential to knowing what everybody's role was. And you can hear Jerome going, "I'm gone, I'm gone, I'm gone." That means I'm left on an island by myself. And I used to laugh like hell at that because Seth would be here going like this. "Okay, great. I got double teams coming on me."
So listen to this. So that's the thing about the film preparation. Each individual sees something a little different. Like when I'm watching film and we're all in the group together, we have food, we're watching after practice, everybody's kind of relaxed and we're in a great mood and we're kind of looking at film. And everybody sees something a little differently, right? So if JB is looking at film, he's really focused on, say if we're playing the 49ers, he's kind of focused on the center and the guard relationship, what happens in situations. I care less about that. I'm worried about Jerry Rice and John Taylor and Joe Montana, right? So I'm thinking formation here. Okay, I see this. Okay, I continue to see this situation keeps popping up like in the red zone. So I'm like, oh, okay. And so what happens is when you get into the game, we may have a call that JB may have to cover up the center, but he sees the formation. He sees maybe the guard is light on his hands. So he's going to say, "Hey, I've seen this in film. I'm going to take responsibility for it. Instead of holding up the center, I'm shooting a guard gap." So he's going to tell Seth, "Hey, I'm gone, man. I'm gone on this one." So it's kind of like I'm confident in what I've seen, and I'm going to shoot the gap, probably get a tackle for a loss. But just in case I don't see it correctly, you got to have my back, Seth. So Seth's like, "I got other responsibilities. I don't have time to cover your gap." But usually with the preparation, you were right on the money. I'll give you an example. Later on, we were playing Washington, and I was always covered at that moment. At that time, I would cover whoever was the slot receiver. If he had more catches, I would go from the outside cornerback and I would go inside. Right.
So you traveled.
Yeah. So I traveled. And so we're in the red zone, and I always notice in the red zone, they had a really crafty receiver named Gary Clark. I mean, he was such a crafty player, and he would just give us issues and trouble. So I was lined up on him, and I'm like, okay, I got all the information down. I know what kind of routes he likes to run in the red zone here. And so they motion, and so I have to go with the motion because that motion guy is going to turn into the inside receiver. I think it was Sanders was his last name. Yep. So as he's motioning over, right as I get to the center, I'm thinking, why are they motioning me right now? Everything kind of slows down when you're in those moments, and you think back to those clips you saw, and I'm like, oh crap, they're motioning me to get me away from Gary so they can curl him up and he can find like a hole on our outside cornerback. Dan, I stop mid of the play, run back, and break a ball up. And we end up, breaking it up, and we end up winning the game. But if I would have been wrong,
he's gone. He's hitting his head on the goalpost.
But that just goes to show you, Buddy gave us so much confidence in what you're seeing and how you prepare and understand the game, that if you do see things like that, it's up to you to take that chance to be able to make that play. And those kind of things are really small details. And, after the game, people were like, Eric Allen, makes this great play. They don't realize that was from 1988. And I think the play may have happened in 92 or something like that. But that was all brought on by the confidence that Buddy Ryan had in me and the rest of his players on how to prepare and study for football games. So hopefully this year I get into the Hall of Fame and I'm able to tell those stories about Buddy Ryan and how much he meant to me and my success, and of course how he affects even today's game of football.
Well, let me get there then, because I was going to save it for the end. Eric, do you believe you're a Hall of Famer?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah. And last year, I made it to the finals. And as I'm, pouring over some of the numbers and everything like this, there's not one player in the history of the league who has 50 plus interceptions. I have 54, 5+ touchdowns defensively. I have 9. Pro Bowls, more than 4. I have 6. All pros, all Madden, and is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm the only one who has all those numbers and is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Can I stop you for a second? I had an argument, and I had a comment with Jason Cole. I went, you don't really think Rondé Barber is a better player than Eric Allen? And Jason Cole goes like this, no, I don't. And so I'm like, so wait a minute. You got a guy here with 6 Pro Bowls. You got a guy here that played on one of the most electric defenses of all time. I mean, all those guys on Purple People Leaders, most of those guys are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and they didn't win a Super Bowl. Right. I mean, those guys didn't win either, man. And that's one of the iconic, where the fearsome foursome.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys didn't win a Super Bowl either. I go, how's Allen not in? He goes, I think they're leaning more towards the wide receivers, because when I get that list of 15 guys breaking down, like I put your name, I get asked, give me your top 5 guys. Your name was on my top 5, who I had last year for about 10 of the 50 voters. And I went, I think he's there. And I didn't think the guy from Florida State who played at Green Bay, Leroy Butler, I know a little different position, but I went like this. Yeah. That guy's not better than this guy.
Yeah.
What's the problem? I think sometimes it's about the presentations too, Eric,
Yes. Yeah. I believe so too. And going back to our conversation earlier about cover 2, as a cornerback, not safety, not DB, I'm a cornerback.
You're not playing center field. You're not playing center field for nobody.
Right. That's their job. They do it well, whatever. I'm a cornerback. I played on the corner. I think I have like 215, 16 games. I started on the corner.
Wow.
More demanding, without a doubt, cornerback, more demanding. I played probably cover 2 in Philly, seriously. And I was in Philly 7-8 years. I probably played cover 2 like 7 times. Buddy was not in cover 2. There was Eagle defense, a Bear defense, and that was the one difference from the 46 from the Bears to the Eagles. Buddy said, hey, front 7 were similar. They probably have better linebackers, but our secondary can handle the man-on-man stuff because I have 21 over there. He's going to be able to match up with Michael Irvin. He's going to be able to match up with Jerry Rice. He's going to be able to match up with Chris Carter. He's going to be able to match up, with all those receivers that gave us issues time and time again. Like I said, I played probably Art Monk. I played probably 7 or 8 Hall of Fame receivers. Seriously.
Hell, Andre Rison was a spectacular
He was a
player.
spectacular player.
Sterling Sharp was
Sterling
spectacular.
Sharp, spectacular player. Andre Reed
Yeah.
for the Buffalo Bills. Out of all those players I played, I think Andre Reed was the only one I gave a touchdown. No. My first year, I played the receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Gosh, dang. Largent, yes. My first year, he double moved me. He got me. I was a rookie, though. He got me the double move, you know.
How embarrassing, a white guy double moved you.
Seth, Andre Waters, Wes Hopkins, they were I may have had to bring lunch for like the next week. I mean,
oh my God.
Just facing all those guys, all those tremendous players, 2 touchdowns for all those players. And I think I ended up, we were counting last year, it was either 10 or 11 Hall of Famers that I played against. So I'm really confident that it's not a production thing, right? It can't be a production thing. The Super Bowl, I understand. The Super Bowl is incredibly important. But there's many cases of guys who haven't played in the Super Bowl who are in. And then the big thing, and I keep saying, hey, you know what? If you can move to safety and further your career, and good friends with Rob Woodson and Charles Woodson, great, do it. Be a great benefit. But all those interception numbers that come at safety, those don't count when you call about cornerback.
Eric, then you must hate the modern day Eagle defense. 2 high safety, 10 yards. This is what I say. I see that, look, and I know it's a trend now in the league. Playing that 2 high safety, guys off the ball. You're expecting a quarterback somewhere in the sequence to make a mistake, have a 3 and out somewhere. I get it. You're trying to keep everything in front of you. But, man, some of these corners make $20 million a year playing center field. I mean, dude, you were a true life lockdown corner. Do you think it's harder today, though, because of all the rule changes? Because remember, man, bumping, running down the field kind of kept the game even. You guys were fighting for the football. You had to turn and look. Once the ball's up, you're both receivers. Nowadays, if you blow on the guy or if you touch the guy, you get PI. You think it's tougher to cover today than it is back in the day when you played?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. The protection of, I think first it started to change with the middle of the field being an area where there was no justice, right? So if usually, you're catching a seam route, you got to be a tough guy to catch a seam route, before the rule changes, because guys are trying to separate you from just not the ball. They're trying to take your shoulder pads off by the hit. So, and coordinators kind of understood that. They didn't want to leave their guy out to dry. Quarterbacks understood that. Nowadays, that part of the field is open. So now as a corner, not only in man-to-man are you, have to be really sticky on any routes that are from numbers to the sideline. Now you have to really squeeze all the way into the middle of the football field. And knowing that your safety is not really going to be able to be the sheriff in that middle of the football field. So that's one thing. And then the second thing, obviously on the outside part of the football field, the back shoulder fade stuff. Just talking about skill set and technique. I'm not even talking about penalties, but I'm just talking about how guys are playing the game. The back shoulder fade, really difficult because of your corner. That was like prime coverage area when you were tucked into that guy's inside hip. You have to force that ball on top, and you can take away the deep balls by being on that top shoulder. One thing about the back shoulder fade, that was really brought into effect with Keyshawn Johnson, because Keyshawn, big physical receiver, but we would all, talk as cornerbacks like, dude can't, he's not a really burner. So I can just be on top and just take stuff away. So him and his quarterback kind of got together, during the practice week, like, dude, I'm not getting any fade balls. Hey, let's try and throw this back shoulder stuff. So that's kind of really started. And then recently, just you can't put your hands on the guy anymore after 5 yards. And they're able to, if they're in the lead position, extend their arm and hold you off. as your head is back towards the football, they're giving you a shoulder or elbow to kind of create space. Extremely difficult today to cover guys man to man for a significant amount of time. It makes it very hard for these guys. I think the one thing that they have in their advantage is every team usually has an outstanding edge rusher who's getting to the quarterback fast and speeding up the process. But even then, when you have these great quarterbacks who are just amazing after the play breaks down, of course, Patrick, we see him every year with the Raiders, just unbelievable what he's doing. Lamar is just like a souped up Randall Cunningham. I mean, this guy is amazing. Josh does an amazing job. Joe Burrow. I just really appreciate the quarterback play, but these receivers, the play calls, the how the teams are being called makes it very difficult to be a consistent, high caliber cover corner.
Couple last questions here for you, and I want to stick on this here before I ask you two other ones. What do you think the holdup is? I mean, what would be the holdup? There's so many guys out there. There's a guy, Dennis Hara, who's a friend of mine, has got 10 Pro Bowls, as an offensive lineman, was on the Rams O-line back in the day, and he blocked for Dickerson, and he's not even being considered. You got another guy, a two-time Defensive Player of the Year in Gastineau. He's not even being considered. Sometimes, I mean, what Leslie O'Neal also is not being considered too. And there's a guy with 130 some odd sacks. I mean, what in your opinion, Eric, do you think the holdup is?
I think at some point the brain trust, whether it's in South Florida because of the respect of maybe some of the coaches who have retired and are kind of linked to organizations now. Like, so you're seeing a lot of Patriots, a lot of Giants. So that group of players and their teams were phenomenal. And the people who are making decisions, if they respect a guy like, and I don't have great respect for a guy like Coach Parcells, and you're getting your information from Coach Parcells per se, you're going to be more inclined to go Patriot way, kind of, guys who have that East Coast feel. That's one aspect of it. I think another thing too is you have to get to a point where these younger voters who may not have seen me personally play have to find a way to get in touch with people like yourselves, Sal Palantonio, folks out here who used to, write for the Oakland Raiders. So that regime change has to make sure that they have a good feel for those players who were dominant players in the 90s and up into 2000s. Have a great perspective and appreciation of how those guys played, not just the teams that went to the Super Bowl who were, Super Bowl kind of players on Super Bowl teams. Yes, it's a great team, but those individuals like myself, Darren Woodson, another guy who played on 3 Super Bowl teams. So it's not the Super Bowl. Darren Woodson's was one of the glue guys for that Dallas Cowboys football team, and he's not in either. So I just think it's the voters who are voting now, if they are younger voters and aren't in tune or know of the players like myself who played in the 80s all up into the 2000s, they need to find, other voters and people who kind of understand that game and see, man, where I would fit in today's game if those voters are young. So those are some of the suggestions I have. So hopefully, this time in a couple months, we can have a great conversation about how difficult it was to get there. But now that I'm there, how I feel now.
Harry Carson, it took a boatload of years for him to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But the way you're talking, Eric, you think you're going to have a better chance on the Veterans Committee than you are with the modern day guys, because at least in the Veterans Committee, they go back over historically some of the people that potentially that they have missed. And again, I've had a conversation. I'm like, my big point was, well, if he missed out during the modern day guys, how are you going back and trying to change history? But I didn't realize, and you're right, a lot of the voting is going to go down the coaching tree. I mean, when you hear Tony Dungy, guys, you're going to hear Bucks and Colts. And you're going to get more of that stuff. I hadn't thought about that you're going to hang in that tree area where you're going to go, well, hey, if that Buccaneer guy, Tony Dungy brought him in, the Glazers, he was a great player for me, Rondé Barber. Or somebody like a Dwight Freeney who played in Indianapolis, he's going to go over a Leslie O'Neal, who maybe the time is starting to get away, and the Chargers don't do a good enough job at promoting him because they've moved now. That kind of also plays into it a little bit. So you'd think you kind of getting caught in the cracks here a little bit with time separating, right?
That's a great point. So I'm a Buddy Ryan guy, right? So defensively, that's the person. And what type of reputation does Buddy have with some of the guys who are trusted to kind of give their.
So you think could Ditka have polluted some of the Buddy Ryan Philadelphia gangrene guys?
You Buddy and Mike didn't really get along.
No, at all.
Yeah. So, and the voters probably have a great respect for Ditka, rightfully so. He's still around. Buddy's not around. There's no one from that Buddy era
to fight for you
wise who's really in a position to say, hey, without a doubt. The one person I did say something was Coach Leslie Frazier. He coached in Minnesota, and he was a Chicago Bear. He was the only person that I heard said, hey, listen, you guys really don't understand the emphasis that is put on a cornerback in Buddy Ryan's system when he was with Philadelphia. And he really went to bat for me a little bit, but that was the only guy. And not saying that the numbers should speak for themselves, but you are exactly right. When you start talking about coaching trees, there's plenty of people around the league who utilize Buddy's system, but a name change here and, a time really keeps them from kind of continuing to call it 46. It's called everything else but a Buddy Ryan defense now. We have all these great offensive coordinators, West Coast offense, and you hear that time and time again, and we trace it back to the 49ers. But defensively, we don't really give that same respect to Buddy Ryan. When people say Tampa 2, they go back to Tony Dungy and some of those coaches. But Buddy has really been lost in this defensive process, which is a little bit sad, actually. So yes, I think coaching wise, I don't have anyone there kind of pulling for me in that room that is respected like a Buddy Ryan would be.
Boy, I'm going to ask you a really difficult question here, and no disrespect to the guy.
Right.
What's your relationship with Paul Domowitz? I mean, he's a Hall of Fame voter in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I mean, does he go to bat for you at all in any way when it comes to putting your name up there? Because again, I mean, every single city, if people don't know, every city has a Hall of Fame representative, and those guys do the presentations on how they're going to present these guys. What's your relationship with him? Because he's a presenter.
Yeah. We had a conversation on one of those podcasts last year. We had a conversation last year, and as a player, and you kind of in that, final push, you want your presenter to have that passion about you when you played and bring up some scenarios like, hey man, this dude, had 5 interceptions in 1988, his first year, and in the year 2000, the guy had 5 interceptions. And I mean, the consistency. So you want him to have that confidence about him. And I'm just not sure if he felt comfortable. And I'm not sure why having that confidence about my game and how it transcended from, decades of football play and how it compared to, my rivals, so to speak, Rod Woodson, Deion Sanders, of course, and how all those guys have kind of went to bat for me. So hopefully he's able to, on the second time, have that confidence, have that swagger about my game and how it compares to other guys who are in there numbers wise and effect on a football game. So I'm just hoping that he'll have that kind of swagger this year, about me.
I'll tell you what, it sucks putting the fate of my resume in the hands of someone else. And I know you're trying to be as nice as, hey, Eric, I love you for trying to be as nice as you can. But if that's me, I'm like, bro, you need to get your ass in there like your hair's on fire and get me in there, man, because going in there and like you're going for a donut and a coffee is not going to get me in with all these new guys that are here, man. All right.
Yeah.
So I get it here. And I'll leave it at that. Fight for you, man. I mean it. I get it. I mean, because I've seen his personality, man. He's got the personality of a twig. And so I know that he got to fight for him.
That South Philly love, man. You got to bring some of that, that ego banter, or just call me up and say, hey, man, can we get somebody else to help me out or something so I can.
I'm with you. I want to do this here. What was it like playing at Veterans Stadium back in the day when those players came in? I'll tell you, my boy Michael Irvin used to always say, man, hey, man, you could go two places and feel like crap. You know what it is? You can go to jail and feel like crap, and you can go to the Veterans Stadium and feel like crap. Both places feel like jail.
That place, man. That place, so many magical moments, man. Just
wait a minute. Is it the cats that were there, or is it the stuff dripping off the top into your lockers?
Oh my God.
I've been back there, and you guys look like you were in a dormitory where your lockers were under the stadium.
Right, under the stadium. Just the humidity, the mold, and then you're walking out to practice, and the cats and rats fighting, getting after it, And I think Andre had named a couple of the cats, and then the birds in the parking lot. We had these huge. I'm not even sure if there was a mix between seagulls and eagles, and they were in the parking lot, and they would stand in the parking lot as you were driving. They wouldn't move. You would have to avoid them. It was just the most bizarre world, just getting to practice out of the bed. Then when you get into the stadium, there was, at the time, we were sharing it with the Phillies, of course, and so first base and the pitcher's mound were all on the field, and there was a so it wasn't a uniform turf. So it
was elevated, right? Second base was elevated.
Yes, they were elevated because if you remember, the pitching mound was on hydraulic, so it would lower and then raise, and so they would cover them with plywood, and the plywood would get wet, it would buckle, and we were playing the Bears. Man, they had this. We had a receiver who was drafted same year I was drafted. He was out of LSU. I think his name was Wendell Davis.
Yeah.
And Wendell Davis. He's running a post route, and he steps on the outside edge of the turf, which was covering the pitching mound. He tears his right patella tendon. He jumps because his patella tendon is torn. He jumps on his left one and tears his left ACL on the same play. And we're all like, oh my God, this is the worst. This is the worst situation. But we knew it. We practiced there on Friday. So we kind of knew how to avoid those dead spots. But once again, the vet provided a little intimidation because when you're in warm-ups and you have you're playing the Saints or something like that, and Mike Haynes is a speedster. I'm like, hey, Mike, man, you better watch first base, bro. Kind of bubbly over there.
Hey, we're gonna do everything we can in our power because, again, like I said, for about 10 or 12 of the Hall of Fame voters, they contact me and go, can you put the list together for this guy, for that guy, for Bryant Young, for players such as that? And I'll make sure that we do that. And
please do.
My issue has always been with Paul Domowitz, and please don't say another word, but my issue has always been with him because I don't think he presents you with enough vigor and enough fire, because that's what that defense was about, and that's what that guy needs to do for you. So leave it there. But I also want to leave you with this last Reggie White story that no one knows. So Jerome brings him down to Brooksville.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, I don't know if you ever saw this with Reggie. So we're sitting out back. Jerome's family, God, I loved going to see those folks, man, in Brooksville.
Yeah.
You know, he wore 98 because a highway was number 98 that drove through that. He really loved his city, man. He just loved Brooksville. That's why he wore 98 at Miami, I should say. I hear this. And I'm like, what is going on in Reggie White's room? And he goes, don't say nothing yet. Listen, I go, and I'm going like, what is going on in there? He goes, oh, he talks in the tongues.
Oh,
I'm going like, what?
Yeah.
I go, he's speaking Latin in the room.
Yeah.
And when you wake him up, Reggie, you know Latin? He goes, no. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. I thought I was in some sort of like horror show or something like that. No. Eric, I had no idea what he was doing. And not many people know that. What a complex guy. What an interesting guy. What a lovely guy. God, I mean, you talk about two dudes that loved each other, Reggie White and Jerome, man. But two very interesting guys.
Two unbelievable human beings. Later on, Reggie learned Hebrew, so he could translate the word himself and not rely on others to give him, you know, the words, you know, of wisdom. And just I would get those phone calls at any hour of the night, and he would call me mangy, like a mangy dog. You know, hey, mangy, you know, what you doing? I'm like, what's going on, big dog? How you doing? And always some words of encouragement. And then JB, on the other hand, he was just so authentic and real and brought that home relationship. And that's why our defenses were just so tight. We just love spending time together, particularly because of those two amazing men who were in our lives for a very short period, but still today, lessons that I talk to my kids about both of those guys.
I'll tell you what, Eric, I was with the Bucks then. He calls me up to Brooksville, and I've told people, some of the people, the story in here. Come up there, he's in his back of his truck. I go, what are we doing? He goes, we're going to break up a Klan rally. And I'm like,
yes.
What? I go, Jerome, I've got the biggest racist owner on the planet in Hugh Culverhouse. Okay, what are you talking about? This is like an hour and a half away from Tampa. I'm like, Hoss, you can't do it. He goes, no. He gets on a megaphone and he starts screaming because they were screaming all this stuff. And Jerome starts screaming at him. And there I am. Sports Illustrated did this story. I go, you brought me up to break a Klan rally up? I go, are you insane? I go, but that's the kind of guy he was, man. He was, he didn't care. He didn't care about anything, man.
He was so cool. My first trip, I think we went to Miami when I was a rookie. I was amazed at, so the people who came to the Saturday night we'd all have camaraderie night. And the place we had camaraderie night was, I think it was called the Rolex, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, this is
was Luther there? Luther Campbell was probably there. Luther
he was there. Yeah. Man, unbelievable, the love and respect of the community that it was closed down. It was just Eagles. It was just like, man, this guy means so much to this community, you know, and he knew everybody and everybody was cool. The vibe was awesome. But just those trips with him that first couple years was really eye-opening and really let you know just how much love that people have for Jerome Brown all across, you know, the state of Florida.
I'm sorry for keeping you this long, but I
have to ask
this
man.
Last one here. For you, do you want to get into coaching, personnel? I mean, I'll tell you this. Yeah. I was hired by Al Davis to work for the Raiders back in the day. I worked for Al. He hired me to do broadcasting. I did the pre- and post-game show when they went back to Oakland. Yeah, and he single-handedly, him and Amy Trask, hired me personally. And Al Locasal was there at the time. And so all those guys were my dearest friends. And so they asked me if I wanted to get into personnel because Ken Herrick was in the building at the time.
I know.
And so, and I think Bruce Allen was there too at the time as well. And so, you know, I was there for Gruden's hiring, believe it or not, when they brought him in as being the OC for the Eagles. And I was in the building at the time, but I loved that place. Morris Bradshaw was in there. I don't know if he's still in the building. You remember Fudgy?
Mike Taylor Mike Taylor is though.
Oh, Mike Taylor. Hey, will you see
Me and
Mike?
Mike are tight.
You tell Mike I said hi. Fudgy used to call me all the time and do this, Eric. Coach Dan, how you doing? And he'd go, yeah, Coach Davis is on the line. I'm the host in Tampa. So he goes like this. Al would get on the phone. What's going on with Charlie Gardner? And what's going on with Charlie Gardner? And I think the tight end, Ricky Dudley.
Yeah,
and he's
Ricky
going,
Dudley.
what are those guys doing? How are those guys looking? I'm like, those guys are a little old right now. They're not looking all that high. And he's going, it's okay. All right. So he called me up and I'm going like, man, I'm running intel. I played for the Bucs and I'm running intel for Al.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Once you're in with Al, Eric, you're in.
Wow. Yes. So we definitely crossed paths when we were with the Raiders. So quick story. I am at my wit's end with the Saints. I mean, me and Ditka, we don't get along. Long story short.
No, wait a minute. Did you not get along with Ditka because of your relationship with Buddy and Buddy hating on Ditka? Did that have a lot to do with it?
You know what? Everybody. So I'm with New Orleans. It's like year 2, and our coach at the time was Jim Mora. Jim Mora, after this brutal training camp, Jim Mora comes in like 4 or 5 games into the season. It's like, hey, I handed in my resignation, and they accepted. So I'm out. I'm like, bro, we had 3 days up in La Crosse, Wisconsin. You're not about to. So he retires. We get an interim guy. In the offseason, the GM for the Saints calls me in the office. He's like, hey, Eric, here's who we're looking at. Who do you think, give me your suggestion who we should hire. I'm like, well, listen. I said, we're in the 49ers division. They're trendsetters offensively. We need a guy who can come in at halftime, change some things up, and just offensively be a little more, productive. So he's like, got it. All right. So about 3 weeks later, he hires Mike Ditka. And all my players, all the guys.
So were you thinking of Mike Holmgren at the time?
Yeah, I'm thinking of anybody in that tree. Let's bring someone from the
Mike Shanahan
we're trying to beat into the family, or
Yeah.
So, and all the players who I knew who played for the Bears were calling me up. You're not gonna like him. I'm like, I'm EA. I get along with everybody. I'm just gonna ball, get some picks. He's gonna love me, right? First day of individual meetings. Like, hey, I'm the new coach. I'm gonna have the captains come in and talk. So I come in. The first thing he says to me is, I'm not a 49er guy. So the GM had told him I suggested he get a 49er guy. I learned that he hates the 49ers because of all those battles they had and 49ers beating them. So I'm like, whatever, man. We get into the season, 3rd week of the season. We're playing the 49ers. It's halftime. We're getting beat 21-3, right? And we should be getting beat like 40-something. Defense is kind of holding up. He comes in the meeting room. I'm not sure how many people know this story. He comes in halftime. I'm talking to my boys. I'm in the DB huddle. And because, in the halftime, you have 2 boards. You have an offensive side, defensive side.
Individual.
Yeah, individual. I'm talking to my boys on the defense side. I'm like, he's about to come in and just kill this offense because they're garbage. He comes in, passes the offense, comes to our board, hits the board. You guys are horrible. You guys are terrible. So I'm like drinking Gatorade. And I look up and he's looking at the defense. And I turn around like this. Like, bro, who are you looking at? we get into a full out argument in the locker room at halftime. Me and him cussing at each other. People are holding us back. Bro, I'm about to go at Ditka. He's like, none of you guys are starting. I'm like, you can't tell me I'm not starting. There's no one in this room who's going to tell me I'm not going to start the second half.
Oh my
We're fully
God.
going at it. That's week 3. We didn't say another word to each other the whole rest of the season. So I called the GM at the end of the season. I'm like, bro, you're either going to trade me or I'm going to retire. He's like, what are you talking about? You're a starting corner. You can't leave. I'm like, I'm out of here. There's no way. So he's calling all these people, other teams, GMs. He called Jeff Fisher. He called Minnesota Vikings, the Green Bay Packers. I'm like, no, I want to go to the 49ers so I can play you guys twice a year. So So I'm flying out. I'm home in San Diego. They say, hey, why don't you fly to Oakland before your meeting with San Francisco? I'm like, hey, I'm not going to Oakland. My old coordinator at the time, Willie Shaw, was there. Me and
Oh,
Willie are tight.
wow.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
tight. Me and Willie are really tight. He recruited me from San Diego to go to college. So I fly out. I'm talking to Willie. And then I'm talking to this young guy who's in front of the facility. Me and him were just going back and forth at it. He was from Philly. He was talking, you don't know Philly. I'm like talking to him. He's a young guy, you know. And so I talked to Willie. I go and talk to Al. I don't think I'm going to be with the Raiders. So I'm like asking Al all kind of stuff. I'm like, Al, you know, why don't you draft me out of 88? And he kind of thinks, he's like, you played a little safety, huh? And I was like, yeah. He's like, your 40 time wasn't as fast as we thought. I was like, bro, I was like 190. I'm like a 4.3 guy now. And he's like, but back then you were a 4.5 guy. So me and him were going at it. And so he's like, all right, I like you, kid. You know, you got to decide on what you're going to do. Go talk to the head coach. So I go to the head coach's office and I walk in, and the guy I was talking to, the young dude, who me and him were kind of going at it with Phil, it was John Gruden. I'm like, hold up. And he's like, what are you going to do? And so me and him start talking, and I kind of tell him the story about New Orleans, and he's like, I respect that. And so we start talking about players I liked in New Orleans. And so I'm like, I'm not sure, but I mean, I really like the situation, but I'm not sure. Let me fly home. I fly home. The next day, my best buddy calls me, played safety for us in New Orleans. He was out of a job. He calls me. He's like, EA, what's up? I was like, oh, nothing much, man. Just trying to figure out, you know, kind of what I'm going to do. I'm like, what you up to? What you doing? He's like, I'm in Oakland. They just signed me. So the conversation I had with Gruden about the player that I liked, he called him up, signed him. That's all I need to know. The dude was for his word. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
And I was a Raider fan growing up when I was little. I love Marcus. Me and him are great friends. Marcus Allen, of course.
San Diego guy.
San Diego guy. So I was there in that time frame, and that relationship. You're right. When you're a Raider, they always say, once a Raider, always a Raider.
Yeah, absolutely.
True. Years later, and I'm in between jobs. I was coaching like the Fleet, the AAF, with a group of guys that disbanded. And I had worked for ESPN for like 15 years. John Gruden calls me up.
So did you work for Anthony Beck, with Anthony Beck at San Diego?
Yeah.
Okay, I went to a couple of those games down there. I thought that thing was going really well.
We had a great time.
That thing was great. I got a hat. I got a whole bunch of stuff. I love that thing, man. I love it.
I always roll with my Fleet stuff. So, yeah, we had a really good coaching staff. A lot of those guys are coaching. So,
Mike Martz?
Yeah, Mike Martz. Larry Marmee, one of my favorites. Larry Marmee, team's coordinator. So, it's 2020. I get a phone call from Gruden, right? He's like, what are you doing, E? I'm like, oh, man, just getting ready to start working for the Pac-12 network, whatever. He's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, with the Raiders, what do you want to do? And he just kind of laid it out there. Like, whatever you want to do, hey, man, I'm here for you. So with my background in communications, he said, we're going to start a new, if you want to go on that side, you want to coach, whatever. So once a Raider, always a Raider. He gave me a great opportunity. And man, I've been with the Raiders for the last 5 years. I've won an Emmy. We do a great job. We do pregame show. I do a postgame show. I have a show on Mondays, Roundtable. I have a podcast, man. It's been really great to have that relationship with the Raiders. And then John Gruden always reaching out. And I hope he gets a job sometime in the next year or so, because I think he deserves it. He's a hell of a coach. And so those are the things that when you're a Raider and you're kind of in that lane, you have opportunities. And I just really respect what Mark Davis has done. Now bringing Tom Brady is a part of the organization. So hopefully the quarterback situation will be fixed and we'll be a much better football team going forward. But yes, that's what I'm doing now. And it's all because of that relationship with the great Al Davis and, of course, John Gruden.
Was Ron Heller your teammate?
Yes, Ron.
Wait,
Ron Heller.
Hey, so you got into a argument with Mike Ditka. Was this
Right.
at the Superdome? So check this out.
Yeah.
First start for Vinny Testaverde. We played the Saints. This is 87. We're playing them down there, and they had a great defense. They were a playoff team. Jim Mora was the coach. They had turned the whole thing around.
Yep.
We get into halftime. My head coach was Ray Perkins. This guy was a maniac. He was former head coach of the Giants, right? He gets in there. Ron Heller gets in the middle. And Ron was a big shit starter in Philly, too, because everyone he gets in there and he goes, "Don't quit." Ray Perkins turns, punches him in the face, hits him, breaks his hand. I had never seen anything like this in my life. I just got there, and all of a sudden, these guys are wrestling. Ray breaks his hand. He's out there coaching. He gets in the team meeting on Monday. Hey, I kind of got out of hand. He's got a cast on his hand. What's his name's got a shiner. 2 days later, he was traded to the Eagles.
That's right. Yeah, we got and we loved him. He fit perfectly with us, just nasty in the locker room, just talking crap to everybody. Those were awesome. Those were awesome times, man. Just great stuff.
Absolutely. Eric, thank you so much. I hope you'll do this again.
Yes.
I've had such a fun time with you, man. And again, really, so retirement's got to be treating you good, because I saw you over at Rancho a couple of years back. And you're at the whole crew. You got the crew there with you, man. You're over there having a good time. And my daughter's like, my daughter goes like this. She goes, "Dad, yeah, that's Eric." I go, "I know who he is." And I remember coming up to you saying hi, man. You were really there with the whole family. So you look really wonderful. And by the way, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we light a fire under a couple people's rear ends. No names included here.
Right.
So we get this thing going here to get you guys going. And thank you so much, my friend. I so appreciate it.
Oh, man, it was awesome, man, catching up with you, man. Just reach out anytime. And during the weekend, I'm usually in Vegas over with the Raiders. But any other time, man, just reach out, man. Love to talk to you. Talk some ball.
Thank you so much, E. I appreciate it, man.
Bro.
Thank you, my friend.
Yep.
That is the great Eric Allen. And we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that we get this man into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because, listen, six Pro Bowls and the 50-plus interceptions. I got to take a timeout. Then we're going to talk to our boy, Xander Krauss. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. That was awesome. And I just got a text from him right now. Said, anytime you want me on, I'm here for you. So that's because of you guys being here right now. That Eric Allen. By the way, hey, Xander, can you put up Kim's super chat? I could have swore that I saw Kim put up a super chat. Sills, isn't it funny? My last super chat, I said Kyler Murray, and you said he would be a perfect fit. Kid looked dynamic last night. Kim, he looked great. He's getting great coaching there in Arizona, and I thought he looked great last night. I think he's looked great. Absolutely. So want to make sure you do that. What a great guy Eric Allen was. That's really the first time I've had him on my program. Xander, where are we on the likes right now? Please do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button. Guys, we're so awesome here, man. We're working on Clyde Simmons, too, by the way. Hopefully, we'll see what we can get him on by the end of the week, possibly. 256. Like to see if we can get to 300 by the top of the hour. Great stuff as always, guys. Hit the like button. Xander Krauss right around the corner. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Xander Krauss right around the corner. That was pretty awesome. He just said, guys, it was so fun being with you guys here, man. I could have stayed on for another 2 hours. And I'm like, I could have kept him too, boy. I tell you what, man, we could have kept going on and on. After a while, I think it was just me and him talking. I really love people like that, man. It just shows you, too, when you get to know some of the people that play in that league. And there's only 17,000 men that are alive that have ever played pro football, have been in the National Football League, and I'm one of them. Whether it's 2 years, 3 years, or 15 years, there's only 16,000 men that have ever played in that game. I think you guys got to put that more into perspective. It's 110 years of pro football, and only 16,000 men are alive. 29,000 have played in the game, and 16,000 of us are alive. So you got a better chance of being an astronaut today than you do a pro football player. I mean, thank you, James. I appreciate it, man. Hey, James, would you like Dexter Manley on? He's kind of a character, but we could get Dexter Manley on here. All right. Holy cow, this is like Philly hour, because now we got one of the resident hornblowers for the – that's what my grandpa used to call people, hornblowers, when they really like something a lot. If you like Gang Green, if you like Kelly Green, there's only one dude, pre- and post-game show host, and the co-host of Birds 365. It is our friend, Big Z, Xander Krauss.
What's up, Big Sills? What a great interview by you of Eric Allen, Big Sills. That was really enjoyable to listen to. And Big Sills, I'll give you credit. Somebody in the chat said it, and I was thinking it the whole time, and I've been thinking it for 4 years as I've watched your show for 4 years. People really love talking about this game with you and doing interviews. You can really see it on people when they join your show, how engaged and into the conversation they are and how much they appreciate your knowledge. It's really amazing to watch. You're really a great interviewer. It's always been one of one of your strong suits, and it's cool to see when you add an Eagle legend to the mix and you see how much they like it too.
Well, the one thing that I do compared to what everyone else does, I listen to the guy. And if the guy says something that's interesting, I expand on his comment on what I said, because then there he's asking me a question.
Yeah, right.
So what we do is we keep it. If it's interesting to him, then it's interesting for us because we want to know about him. People don't want to know about me anymore. They get 4 hours of me 5 days a week. They already know I'm a maniac. All right. They want
people love the Big Sills story still. I know I do, but no, you're right, man. It was a great interview though, man. I mean, by the way, yeah.
What about his comments?
We know the reason why EA hasn't gotten into the Hall of Fame, and I thought he said it in a soft kind of way because he, in a respectful type of way. But anybody that's ever talked to Paul Domowitch understands that he doesn't have much passion or vigor or South Philly twang like Eric Allen.
That's my criticism of him.
Oh, no, and I think it's fair. I really do.
He took over the top because of a political thing, and that I posted on a Twitter. And by the way, Paul can say all the things he wants. He doesn't know me from a can of paint, and nor do I. So I don't have anything on Switzerland on him. People have all kinds of opinions on me. Xander, you see it all over the internet. So what happened? By the way, I think he's a great guest on Birds 365 and John.
I won't join anymore. He wanted to be paid for his guest segments.
So. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with him though. I think he's been the number one problem why there have not been more Philadelphia Eagles that have been put into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's because his presentation, and I've asked people, you see, Xander, this is how it works. You got a Hall of Fame voter like Armando Salguero, who's down in South Florida, right? Well, he promotes all the Miami Miami Dolphin guys.
That's how it works, right? The guy from each city.
The local guy, there's a designated guy from the Hall of Fame. There's 50 of them that those guys, there's two like in LA and there's two in New York. The big giant markets have two, right? Well, Paul has done a shitty job at presenting Eric Allen. And like you said, there's the problem right there. Is that Paul again, and he can't go crazy on Paul because why? He needs Paul to sit there and have a little bit more fire. Well, I can promise you fucking this. After this program, I'm going to post that interview and I'm going to tag Paul Domowitch in it and say, get off your ass and get this guy in the Hall of Fame. It's your job to get him in. You failed so far.
You know what's sad? And I'm not trying to take shots at anybody. It's really not what I'm going for. But just listening to you interview Eric, I can feel more passion coming through you, a guy that has no ties to the city of brotherly love, a guy that really, what's it to you other than that you love great football and you've been watching it for 50 years?
My only tie is
Jerome. Feel it through you.
My only tie is through Jerome.
The guy
it's
doing
probably a little more of this too. He played with my best friend, okay? And one of my best friends loved Eric Allen, Jerome Brown, okay? So there's probably a little bit more of a tie-in with that. And you're right, Xander. My tie-in with the Eagles is a guy that you put and retired his number, and that's JB. That's my only tie-in and going to Army Navy game.
Well, that's a significant tie-in, so I shouldn't have said none. But you know what I'm saying. You're an outsider.
Absolutely. But as you can see, I'll tell you what, I'm awake or you. I've grown to love Philly fans more than you know. Look, I'm Switzerland on your team. Okay, I really am. It's one of the benchmark teams of all time. That's why when people come into Philadelphia and pretend that they're Eagle fans, I will never say that. But I'll tell you what I do become. I become fans of your fan base and the fans of this program who span not just in Philly, but across the country here. That's who I'm loyal to. That's why you don't see me on other shows. You only
fans are the best in the world. They were a little mad at me today. I tell you what, I was reading the comments on the JAKIB channel before I joined today. Oh, baby, I felt like Big Sills today. I'm getting your Sileo eyes, your little Sills. What
were you getting hammered on?
The AJ Brown comment.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, was Philadelphia mad at me today, Big Sills.
One thing Philly does that I fucking hate, though, you know what it is? If you say something critical of somebody, you think you're putting them in a sandbox and it indicts the entire guy. AJ Brown is a spectacular player. And right here, I feel I even have to quantify my fucking take. Hey, he says asshole things sometimes. So what?
Well, I don't get how more people because I got I mean, you could argue it was 95% of people were like, you're a dumbass. And when 95% of people tell you you're wrong, you start to look and you're like,
No, when 95%
wait a
of the
second.
people tell me I'm wrong, I know I'm right.
Well, no. Well, I looked at it and I'm like, it's still a dumb comment. You beat a team by 25 points. And in the very interview after the game, you're talking about targets. Dude, you got 3,000 yards in 2 seasons. You played 3 games out of 6 this year, and you have nearly over 100 in every single one of them, except for the last one where you had 90 and a touchdown. Sit down and shut up. You're going to get your targets like you have for the last 2 years you've been here. It was a stupid comment. Diva Brown.
Absolutely.
Baby.
How about the time he spent with us? This guy spent an hour.
God. Yeah, that was cool, man. I almost was about to tell you, man. Keep rolling. I can wait.
Yeah, I probably should have, because I think he wanted to continue to go. Anyway, let's get to you here. Jordan Davis a bust.
Boy, he's approaching that territory. I mean,
How about this? Let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase it. Is he a bust as a first rounder?
Definitely. Well, as of right now, 100%. No, 100%. I mean, do I think that there's potentially at some point in the future he can find out a better way to use his power and apply it to the NFL and be a dominant force? Potentially. I'm not going to say that doesn't exist. I do think the dude is a powerful guy, and I think he is built to play the position at a high level. Has he done that? No. And I talked with John about this morning, and, he's like, well, there's so much context. They've played a 4-man front all day because the Giants couldn't run the ball and they were playing from behind. So it was easy to get home with a 4-man front. There was no 5-man front. Jordan Davis is a 5-man front player. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, well, that's the 13th overall pick. He's not that good. If that's, and that's fine. If that's the line of logic, right? Like that's why he didn't play a lot of snaps. That's fine. But with that also comes the acknowledgement that you failed at drafting a player 13th overall. That was supposed to give you the type of impact a 13th overall player taken should. And Jordan clearly doesn't provide that to this team. Does that mean I think he sucks out loud? No, I don't think he's Jalen Reagor or, one of the all-time busts. I don't think he's that, but he's certainly not a 13th overall pick.
Do you think Jalen Hurts has gotten better in the last year and a half?
No. The last year and a half? No. I think that's the biggest knock on him right now, that even his biggest, supporters are having a hard time coming to grips with. Because and by the way, I'm not a Jalen hater. I view myself as a Jalen supporter.
Question.
No, I view myself as a Jalen supporter. He has not gotten better, really even close to the level of progress you saw with him year to year going up.
Can I stop you?
He
for
got
a minute?
he got paid and he's certainly regressed.
Can I let me stop you here. You make a great point here. The years 21 and 22 was like this, right? And 23 and 24 seem to be this.
Yeah, I don't think they're as downhill as you just made it
look. No. Probably more.
I think here. I think at the start of 23, he came like this, and now he's riding like this. Maybe going a little bit lower.
He's leveling off a little.
I mean, he's leveling off a little. Maybe not with the turnovers.
If he's leveling off, you got a problem.
Oh, yeah. Big problem. Big problem. But that's why I've been advocating for the running game. Everyone's like, oh, John's like, oh, we're not going back to 1975. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's not go back to 1975. Can we not be 40 passes a game offense that the owner wants? I mean, build a system around the player. If this is what the player is, and this is our reality as Eagles fans, this is going to be our guy. So for anybody that hates Jalen Hurts, buckle your chin strap and settle in. All right. I mean, he's not going anywhere at least through next season. At least. Absolutely. So you're talking about another 10 games this season and all of next year. He's going to be here. How do we find a way to get as close to winning with that as possible? I mean, we saw it with the guy, right? I mean, I know it's 22 and it now looks like a one-off, but shit, whatever they did that year did work. How can you recreate something to get as close to that form as possible? And then to the other additions to the team, Saquon Barkley, the defense hopefully getting better in the next couple of weeks. Do they make up for, what you lost in an MVP candidate and the quarterback? I think that's got to be the hope at this point, right?
How about this? Somebody brought something up here, and whoever said this, ID yourself here. And I thought it was one of the best comments that I've seen in the last couple months here about Hurts. The less they're asking him to do, the better he's is for the offense.
Yeah, and that's where John keeps pushing back on me. He's like, so if you're already at a point where you're looking to remove responsibilities from the quarterback, you might as well start searching the draft. Because it's already, if you're already looking to regress at this point, what he does, we're too far gone.
The less
so John said no. John's full disclosure. He says to me, I disagree with you. I think that he can handle it. I don't see it. So that's where I am with Jalen. It's almost, it's that common phrase I've used before. It's like between a rock and a hard place. Where the hell do you go from here? How do you make it work with the player? Because they're
give
not
him
gonna,
less.
Huh?
You make it worse by giving him less. Because it's working when you give him less.
Well, yeah, right. So do you make it better by giving him less, you mean?
You're making your situation by no turnovers. Somebody even brought that up with a question to Nick. The less he does, the better the offense is. They had 14 passing attempts. They dominated a football game. They didn't need him.
Yeah,
Dude, they didn't need him to win that game.
Yeah, remember, the Giants' offense, forget their defense for a second. Their offense is so inept that you don't even have to worry about them putting points on the board. So, like, you're facing Joe Burrow this week. Let's just assume Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are going to find the end zone 2 or 3 times. All right, that's going to mean you're going to have to put up more points this week.
Oh, they're going to have to this week.
Oh, I know they're going to have to. You could still argue that being a balanced attack would be the best approach, but apparently they don't think that.
You know what? Hey, don't have a common sense to this. How about, what do you make of the bookies having the Bengals favored at 3 and 4?
Yeah, is that what it is right now?
Yeah, the Bengals are favored 2.5 over the Eagles. So wait a minute. The guys.
Yeah, so what? How does betting work though? You get 3 to be the home team, right? So the Bengals are home. By the way, the Eagles have never won.
You usually get 3. The Bengals are at home, but they're favored by 2.5. The Eagles are getting 2.5.
The Eagles have never won in Cincinnati.
I didn't know that.
They're 0-4-1, I believe.
So what the money
guys, famous tie? They have the famous tie.
The money guys in Atlantic City and in Vegas think a 3 and 4 team is better than a 4 and 2 team.
They think it's a push. What's the Bengals record?
3 and 4.
3 and 4, and they squeaked by the Browns, who didn't even
but
know
they almost beat the Ravens, and that's one of the only teams at home with the Ravens this year, along with the Chiefs. The Chiefs got the win.
Yeah, it looks to me like Vegas thinks it's a push, right? You got 2.5.
So a 3 and 4 team, they're looking at it right now going, wait a minute here. We favor the Bengals in this game over the Eagles. I think that number will probably get down to 1. But, man, that's kind of an indictment on who you've played, because if you think about it, the only team that you've played that's worth a shit this year, I think there's 2. Even though the Bucs got ran off the field, they got ran off the field by the best player in the NFL right now. That's Baltimore Ravens and Lamar.
I wouldn't say they got ran off the field. They lost by what, 10 points?
They got ran off the field by the Bucs.
Oh, the Eagles did. Yeah, I thought you said the Bucs last night.
No. The Bucs. No. I look at that last night. I'm not. That didn't do anything.
No, I think the Bucs are in trouble because there's both. Godwin's out, and Godwin was on a career year, and I don't know, Mike. That looked. Mike Evans is a tough dude.
That's going to be a factor.
You don't see Mike Evans wince in pain very often, and he was in pain. You could see it. So I think that's going to change it up for them. But yeah, look, the Eagles' best win is the Green Bay game, and it was week 1 on a neutral field in Brazil. Obviously, there was problems with the Brazil field. What were the Packers then versus what they are right now, where I think they're now finding their stride a little bit as a young team with a young quarterback. That's our best win. So you could argue we've been blown off the page too. Look, we were just talking about it in the chat because people are like, oh, I'm not ready to give Washington their props. And I'm fine with that thought.
Yeah,
right. Washington hasn't beaten anybody.
I got it.
Okay, so why are the Eagles back? Because we beat the Browns and the Giants?
No.
You know what I mean? It's the same logic. So Bird's going to have to win this. Look, they had 2 great wins. You got to build on that. This is not the end. You got to build on that. You got to show that, you're going to continue to do what you have to do to win games.
I think your 2 great wins are Atlanta and Green Bay. I don't think these last 2 games.
No, I'm saying I'm talking about the trend of the last
okay.
game. You're right. The 2 best wins are definitely, by the way, we lost to Atlanta.
Okay, then was
the Saints who now.
Okay, now they're 2 and 5. So really, the only big win you got this year is Green Bay. Green Bay's playing good. Green Bay's playing good ball.
You have 4 wins. You beat the Giants, you beat the Browns, you beat Green Bay, and you beat the Saints. The only team competent there that's a potential playoff contender is Green Bay.
Yep.
So look, Bird's got to keep stacking right now. You know, this is going to be a big game this week. I'm really curious to see what Vic Fangio is going to do this week because he clearly has it out for the quarterbacks that aren't good, right?
Don't bring pressure.
I know, because Joe Burrow is going to make you pay. And you could see Vic Fangio's scheme versus Watson and versus Daniel Jones was poetic. They had no chance to move the ball on him. I mean, we haven't given up a touchdown in 9 quarters for crying out loud. Vic Fangio has obviously been dialing up good game plans. That's going to be probably the number one thing to watch because I don't think that Bengals defense is very good.
No, they're not.
They're not at all. So do I expect the Eagles offense to have a good week? I do. I think they're going to have a good week. I think A.J. Brown can stop the crying because he's probably going to get targeted a lot. You know, and I think the real test this week is going to be on the Eagles defense to see how they manage a upper echelon quarterback.
I love this. Look at this. Look at this guy. I think we break the Ravens. Let me tell you something. Derrick Henry's going to break Nakobe Dean over his knee. How about this, man? Last night I'm watching Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and I'm thinking of Wishbone and Saquon Barkley in Philly, and I'm looking at that going, how come I look at Lamar and I look at Henry and go, I don't know.
Yeah, you want to have this, like, should we have this conversation? Because I had it on the after hours of Birds 365 alone today.
Dude, it's not close who
Dude, no, but even right here on this show, we said in the past, and I think I might have said it, and maybe I'll slap myself in the face for this dumbass take. I think I might have said before that Jalen's a better passer than Lamar.
No way. No way.
Not close. It's not close. Did you see that touchdown pass Lamar had last night?
Hey, here's something you have to understand, though, about Lamar, where he's at in his career. He's 1-5 against Mahomes. You got to fucking beat that guy, dude, because all the shit you're doing right now, all the stuff that they're doing right now, he's going to be gauged by one thing. Think about what they did a year ago.
No, you're right, but like imagine Jalen Hurts in the AFC.
Oh, he'd be a dog. He'd be Tyrod Taylor. Okay? Do you want
I'm saying, it's hard for me to criticize. I get it. You're right. You got to beat Mahomes, but like, I'm not going to take away from Lamar Jackson's abilities and greatness because he hasn't beat Mahomes. Does it lower how great he can be in the final standings when it's all said and done? Absolutely. But to say he's not great because he hasn't beat Mahomes is just foolish. The dude's an unbelievable player. He's honestly playing probably like the best quarterback in the league right now. Maybe second, I'd put him to Josh Allen.
How about this? He's 20-5 in the last year and a half. He's 20. All super chats will be read. Please.
Have you seen the record against him and with him versus the NFC too? Isn't it
23-1?
Yeah, it's insane. I forget exactly what it was, but
or something like also on Monday night he's got like 18 touchdowns. And
like Michael says Jalen's a better passer. F out of here, fellas. Michael, I'm sorry, dude. I don't think so, man.
As Jalen Hurts will never lead the National Football League in touchdown passes. Lamar has already.
Respect. This guy says, I have an opinion. I stand my ground. I don't follow Xander. Your take is stupid. Respect, Co-Pizzle fan.
That's right. That's why that guy's got 2 MVP awards and has led the NFL in passing touchdowns. And that's why, again, he's going for a back-to-back MVPs. You're right. Jalen's better at nothing that guy does. Nothing. His nickname is Wishbone. Here's glorified Wildcat quarterback.
This is Lamar Jackson to me, and then I'll give you Jalen Hurts. Lamar Jackson is a great thrower and an elite athlete and runner.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is a mediocre thrower of the football and a good runner. A great runner. You can say great athlete.
He can't complete an 8-yard pass with a guy waving at him like he's on a beach at Jones Beach.
Guys, this is a losing argument versus Big Sills.
The guy was waving like he was on an aircraft carrier. He's over here going.
Dude, you missed the worst one, dude. It wasn't Saquon. The worst one was Devonta Smith on the 3rd and 3 in the mesh route. Jalen Hurts is over to the left of the pocket, which he rarely gets over, but he's still in his stance.
Over here,
literally right in front of his face is Devonta Smith like this, and he comes back.
He can't see shit, man. He is. He's a mediocre quarterback, man. And I'll stand. Watch this. He's a 1-year wonder, man. He hasn't gotten better in a year and a half, and he had a really great year in 22. Other than that, prove it to me, dude. Hey, by the way, like I just said about Lamar. Hey, you want to be elite? Beat the elite guy in the building. KC's guy. You're 1-5 against them. That's also on his ass. I want to ask you a question now about Vic Fangio. Go into his presser here. So what do you make of this when Vic says this? Yeah, Nolan Smith, man, he's continuing to improve. You know, he's not the biggest guy on the planet, but he had a real good power play. Then he was asked about Bryce. He goes, yep, he's in rotation and he's improving. And yeah, then he was asked down here. He goes like this, what do you make of? He goes, yeah, no, he's getting better. And I'm going like this. So wait a minute. A $15 million guy is a rotational piece. And he goes, yeah, you know, he did some good things. He goes, do you see any positives? He goes, yeah, you know, I mean, there were some things that he doesn't think highly of that guy at all.
No, he doesn't. He does not. You know, it's interesting, but look, here's what I'll say. Cause if you want to shit talk the bad, I agree. There's a lot of bad there, especially when you look at some of the draft picks and some of the moves Howie's made on defense. You're potentially looking at right now, to be positive, you're looking at 2 potential defensive rookie of the year players in the last 2 years.
All rookie team.
Well, I mean, Jalen Carter last year could have won it. My point is could have. No, he shouldn't have won it. You can't collapse for 7 weeks.
Dude, he was so far ahead when they changed the coordinator, went to Patricia, it hosed him.
I know. I'm saying that you can't collapse for 7 weeks and try to think you're going to win an award. He collapsed. But my point is the talent is there. And then right now you're seeing it a little bit with Quinyon Mitchell. So those are 2 building block type pieces of a defense that you can build around, a guy in the front and a guy in the secondary that really are showing some big promise. So to take a little bit of the pressure off, or take a little bit of put some ice on the wound or some salt on the wound, if whatever you want to say, of Bryce Huff, I think those dudes are showing a lot right now. But yeah, Bryce Huff, I mean, look, Vic Fangio has been pretty blunt about him from the start still. That was going back to summer. I mean, remember his first comments on him?
Yep.
You made a 4-hour show about it. You were like, what did he just say about the free agent? And everybody called you a hater because it was too early.
That guy has not talked positive about him at all. I mean, no, by the way, Anthony, we'll read your super chat. I promise we'll get to all the super chats. Please hit the like button. I want to go back to Jordan Davis for a second. What do you make of him only getting 12 snaps?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that they don't believe he's an impact player.
Booker gets more snaps now. Booker got more snaps last week.
Booker had more?
Booker had more snaps.
All right, yo. I think Booker?
Booker had more snaps.
You're telling me that Thomas Booker
had more snaps.
Had more snaps than the 13th overall draft pick.
Yes. Yes.
All right, see, which way do I want to go here, right? Because in the back of my mind, I can hear John. You're not adding the context. 4-man front. Okay, I get it. But, dude, he's a bust. If you're getting outplayed by Thomas Booker. I mean, seriously, Philly fans, am I crazy? Am I a hater? The 13th overall piece, by the way, it's not his first year or even his second year. It's his 3rd year in the league.
That was his line. 12 snaps, nothing.
Meanwhile, every guy in the defense had a sack, for crying out loud.
I know.
Kobe Dean
Alex Hunt had a sack.
Nolan, Bryce, Josh, Jalen. Every edge rusher got a sack. Oh, my God.
And then you watch Dexter Lawrence, and you look at him and you go, God, I just hope he's like 10% that guy.
Forget that, man. I don't even use that name when talking about Jordan Davis.
Can I tell you my favorite Eagle right now?
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah.
All right. Just tell me what side of the ball it's on. Defense,
no,
probably. Defense.
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. All right. Let me take a guess.
And then I want you to go back and reference what we talked about.
Sileo's favorite Eagle right now.
And what we talked about, and I want you to give it to me. Because our very first conversation.
Devonta Smith.
Tell the folks our first conversation. Sills, what do you make of the Devonta Smith draft choice?
All right, so let me give everybody the backstory. Ready?
So first week.
We signed Big Sills, right?
April 27th.
Yeah, 4.5 years ago now. April 27th, like Big Sills just said, was his very first show. It's still to this day on YouTube. You can go and find it and look at how much the show has grown since then for all of Should be.
Not there.
Yeah.
There you go.
I unplugged my mic. For all the detractors, the show has exploded. But anyway, Big Sills comes on right after the NFL draft, and this is after Howie picked up Devonta Smith, and he's like,
Xander was producing.
Awful pick, wrong team. And I'm just getting started with this stuff, making thumbnails. I react to every comment like it's the last comment coming in. Like I was still getting my feet wet on the whole YouTube thing. And Big Sills ignited a reign of terror on our channel.
Hey,
like I haven't seen.
I called him a shrimp.
You did. You called him a shrimp. You said it was the wrong pick, wrong player, wrong team, everything.
Yep. Now
I still don't know if you're wrong.
Here's a guy -2 yards, not a peep out of him.
Yeah.
And then you hear Nick do this. You should watch him in the blocking game when the downfield. He's knocking guys out. He's getting in the way. He's doing all the dirty work. That guy doesn't say shit. Takes a pay cut, hometown discount, wants to be in Philly to retire as a Philadelphia Eagle, buys a small home. He has no ego whatsoever. He's a blue-collar mentality like his family. There's everything to love about that guy, his work ethic. And you name a fucking kicker, a captain over that guy, blow me.
Oh, well, all right. Now, because here, they always pick a special teams guy.
Fuck that shit. Well, let's break that rule. Let's break that rule.
No, I don't want. I mean, look, I don't
want a special teams guy.
So the more I learn about captains in the NFL, the more I think they're absolutely stupid. Remember, I come from a hockey background. When you get the captaincy in hockey,
it's sewn on your sweater.
It's a different ball. Right. It's a different ballpark. I mean, these players, it means a lot to be a captain in hockey. That's what I grew up when I think of captains, right? I mean, even when I was young and I was playing AAA hockey as a kid, being a captain of those teams mattered. I mean, we had 1 year where we didn't name the captain until halfway through the year. We had different A's, and it wasn't until halfway through the year that we finally, they finally picked a captain. It was a big deal. Captains don't mean shit. I mean, A.J. Brown's up there. Devonta Smith's the dude who doesn't wear the C. Meanwhile, he doesn't make a peep about having -2 yards. A.J. gets 90 yards and a touchdown, and you beat a team by 25 points, and he the touches. We want the ball too. Dude, you have 3,000 yards in 2 years.
And $35 million.
Right, and $35 million. What, like, where are you saying? Where is anybody said you're not getting the ball? You had one game where you destroyed an NFC East opponent by 25, and you're crying about targets? It's a stupid comment, dude.
I get both of us. By the way, most losers, like there's a certain group of people in here that are completely losers, but we thank you for the algorithm. I would say this is that it's not an indictment on the player. It's an indictment on the character. Okay. It's the character, like Slay. Slay's a good player.
I don't even want to indict AJ's character, honestly, because I think AJ's a good dude. Honestly, I don't have a problem with him.
So you
and I said this morning, because I said this morning, John, like, I need to push back on John about this now that I'm thinking about it. John's like, you're calling AJ a diva. I'm like, I didn't even call AJ a diva. I said that comment was a diva comment.
Wow.
It was a selfish comment. It was nothing about the team winning the game. It was about making sure I get what I need to be a productive receiver and people talk about me in the NFL.
Come on, John. Come
on.
I
just think it's funny. I mean, he made it seem like I called him a diva. I didn't even call him a diva. I said that was a diva moment for A.J. Brown. It was.
It absolutely was. I'll tell you something that I posted that I never do on Nick Sirianni. The Eagles posted something cool. That stupid rah-rah speech, that Newt Rockney thing a week ago was fucking ridiculous.
Wait, let me rip my man Eduardo.
Oh, wait a minute.
You're about to get ripped. Settle in. You're about to get
wait a minute.
ripped.
That thing they did for Barkley with him going over with that, sitting on the bench there and telling Barkley, hey, look, I found out you're just a couple yards away from your career. Do you want to stay in? And he goes, nah, that's all right. I'll tell you what, man, that kid Barkley's he's exceeded my expectations of what he is. I mean,
yeah,
John won't admit it, but I will. That guy's been an absolute impact football player on that team. There is no question. He may be the biggest impact player on that team, even more so than A.J. Brown. He has been sensational.
658 yards already rushing for
Incredible.
Saquon. I don't think there's any denying that he's been an absolute unit for the Philadelphia Eagles. Probably Our best free agency signing since who? AJ wasn't really free agency. We signed and traded him.
Would you say Slay?
Probably Slay.
That was a
Probably
trade.
Slay.
That was a trade. Wait.
Slay was a trade, yep.
I mean, Reddick? Reddick
was a free agent. Yeah.
Reddick was a free agent. So was Barkley. I'm trying to think of some.
Reddick was a good one. Reddick was a good one.
Hey, Chris Long.
I think T.O. is a little too long ago, but yeah.
But T.O. wasn't a free agent. Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. Malcolm
was
Jenkins, was he? Did we get Malcolm? I thought we we got him from the Saints. That's right. And then he went back there at the end of the year and the end of his career.
Like Eric Blunt is a good one.
Yeah, but that was it. Blunt was a different role, right, Como? I mean, he was, he look, I loved him. But I don't think he is going to have quite the impact that that Barkley is having right now in Philly. But
you hear that rumor going around that Cooper Kupp in the Eagles?
The Jalen Hurts can barely find Devonta Smith. What do we want Cooper Kupp?
They did cut Paris Campbell today, right?
Yeah, we did cut Paris Campbell. The greatness of Paris Campbell.
You don't think Howie would bring Cooper Kupp?
No, Anais Smith is going to be back soon. The greatness of Anais Smith. Remember him?
Yeah, no hand Smith.
No hand Smith. I think that's what's going on. He'll be back. So I think that's what's going on there. I can text John and see what he thinks. But yeah, Eduardo, you might want to go and re-listen to the segment, dude. I know what I said, Eduardo. It was a diva comment and a dumb comment after your team blew the Giants off the page by 25 points. It was a dumb comment. I told you the player's great. In fact, our team is measly without him. We're 1-2 this year, averaging 17 points a game when he's not on the field. I know we need him.
How about Nick saying that you're a running team now? Yeah,
he's. I think he's played fan base.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe it at all. I mean, I said that this morning, and John laughed at me again. And I'm having so much. I got to be honest. I am having so much fun with John right now. I am almost just poking the beast at every turn.
The Eagles are just a content machine. They're a content machine.
And somebody commented today, "Oh, the media blows everything up." I'm like, yeah, this YouTube channel is the reason the Eagles have problems. Yeah. Give me a break. I mean, it's very flattering, but come on, man, give me a break. Yeah, no, you're right though. They are.
How about this? Look at KCA, 50 passing attempts incoming against the Bengals. Dude, you'll lose by 14 if you do that. 50. Hey, believe me, I made a comment to you. Two last ones here, Xander, and then we'll read the super chats. 50. Do you think that Barkley has now forced the hand of management and the coaching staff to make them have to hand the ball off more? Because, dude, can you imagine a Monday if Barkley had 6 carries and Hurts had 37 passes and he had 2 more picks and they fucking lose? People would be going, what are you doing? You have the leading running back in the league next. It's Derrick Henry and him for the best backs in the game right now. And you're fucking going away from him. So I say this to you. Do you think he's forced their hand to force them into being a running team? They're second in the league right now.
Wait.
You're like 15th in passing.
That makes so much sense that the Eagles won't do it because common sense sometimes. But listen. Wait a second. And this is my point about AJ because look at Spike. Sensitive Xander crying about AJ. Oh, okay,
Spike. You really value yourself really highly.
So AJ comes on after the game and cries about the targets there and says, hey, we want, it'd be nice if we got the ball every once in a while too. Okay. You think he's not saying that right now in team meetings?
Oh, absolutely.
So when they do come out and throw for 50 times, you'll know that they have a whole organization of people who can't upset A.J. Brown and Devonta. I don't think it's even Devonta, but upset A.J. Brown and his $35 million salary because they didn't get him enough targets. They're not going to be a running team, Sills. They're not going to do what makes common sense approach. Run the football. Let your quarterback develop. Let him learn how to be a play caller at the line of scrimmage. Let him learn how to read defenses. Do the things that make his life easier so that he can be a better quarterback. It's common knowledge. It's easy. It's common sense. They're not going to do that. They're going to come out and throw the ball all over the yard.
That's right, because then they're going to turn around and act like fucking Prince, stupid. So I get it. I mean, hey, I totally get it. Let's get to the super chats, my friend.
All right, let's do it. I love it. Was tongue in cheek, Spike says.
Oh, God.
Spike,
Hey, Spike,
it
relax.
wasn't tongue in cheek. Go and listen to it, Spike.
Relax.
There was truth in that.
Spike,
AJ
relax.
Brown was pissed that he didn't get more targets.
Relax.
The dude had 90 yards and a touchdown.
People so sensitive. Not like me.
Anthony,
Hey,
Anthony,
Anthony,
21.
thank you, brother.
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
Dope.
Anthony.
Appreciate you, Anthony. I think he was upset with some of my takes. That's all right, man. We're gonna have different opinions. Appreciate you, brother.
Come on, Anthony.
He says
Everybody
Nolan
gets
Smith
different
looks better than Davis now. It's true.
He
It's
does.
true.
Hey,
It's true,
hey,
man.
wait a minute, Xander. Let's rank the Georgia guys.
Okay, I'll do that.
Dean? No, Carter.
No, not Dean. Dean.
Yeah.
Oh my
Carter.
God.
Holy Carter, Dean,
I don't even need
Smith.
to write it. I know mine.
Hold on. Okay, I got Carter, Dean, Smith, Davis.
Can you? All right, look, I know we're being hard on Jordan Davis right now, but he has done more than Nolan Smith has.
Oh my God.
Nolan Smith's been, dude, Nolan Smith has showed up as an NFL player for 2 games.
Well,
2 games.
Who said Davis has showed up for any game? Who said Jordan? Hold on here. Let's see here. Let's see.
I think your ranking is the right one.
Nolan Smith has 15 tackles. Who did I say? Let's see here. Yeah, Nolan Smith has 15 tackles. And where the hell is Jordan Davis? Where the hell is Jordan Davis? Surely he's on this. Oh, here he is. He has 9. Hey, look. Nolan Smith has 2 sacks and 15 tackles. The greatness of Jordan Davis has 9 tackles and a sack.
Oh, wait, Sills, let me just give everybody. I just got a text from Eric Allen. All my haters in the chat. Love it, right? LJ. Eric Allen says, please send me the link to that interview. I had a really good time.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Love it.
I love him, man. I'm going to make it. By the way, now he'll be a mainstay on this bitch.
Yeah, man. That was a great interview.
Plus, he works for the Raiders.
Sorry, a little business on the air, but he got to text Eric Allen back.
Yeah. Sorry, for the channel and for you guys here, we're going to make Eric Allen part of the channel so that you could come aboard here and have not just.
All right,
so
let's
that
get through these super chats. I got some work to do on the other
Hey,
side.
how about this here? Hang on here. We're going to have Angelo Cataldi now as a mainstay, Gary Cobb as a mainstay, and now we're going to have Eric Allen as a mainstay. Fuck Seth Joyner. I don't need him. How you doing? Go ahead, Xander. Hit the supers.
Good stuff. LJ says go play in traffic. LJ, I could dodge them cars better than you, bro. I'll tell you that.
Just tell LJ to keep posting for the algorithm.
No, I'll say this to LJ because LJ's got to up his game. He used to actually be kind of a good troller, Like he used to say a couple things here and there. He'd be like, oh, that's pretty funny, pretty good. He sucks now. He's not even a good troller. I mean, A-Track is better than him.
He is.
I mean, LJ's got to pick up his game. LJ, if you're going to be the troll of the chat, you're supposed to be a good troller. You're not very good at it. So maybe get back in the lab and figure it out.
Can you imagine a dude chasing a guy around for 4 hours? Homie, I'm going to ask you something. Do you have a picture in your bed next to me? Or do you have a picture of me in your bed when you lay down and jerk off to me? Is that what you do? Come on, guy. You're really, really kind of weird here, man. Man. Go ahead, Xander. I apologize.
Prince says, Sills, lean forward, bro. Your sagging boobs are in the camera. My guy, Victoria's Secret.
You know what happens? You know what happens, Prince, when you're a 550-pound or 600-pound bencher? And after a while, you get a little old because, you don't have the same kind of power that once you did, and you're kind of injured a little bit. You should try it, son. Do something in your life. Move on.
That's a suspect comment from Prince. I'll say that. That's an interesting comment.
Again, too. Both Prince and that LJ guy, pick your game up. You fucking suck today.
Yeah, that's a little weird comment there, really, Prince. Prince, you might need to get back to the drawing board too, bro. You've been off all day. Bird Gang says Xander trying his best to be Sills, and it looks pitiful. Making something out of nothing.
I don't think that's okay. Xander disagrees with me quite a bit.
Yeah, I do. But listen, if that's what people, every time now you criticize the Eagles, people call it a Sills. It's great for you. I mean, you're living rent free in the heads of everybody. Anytime someone criticizes the team, they're Sileo-ized. It's pretty hilarious, honestly.
It is, actually.
All the Eagles says Booker is a better pass rusher. Giants had to pass. Yeah, That's
He is a better pass rusher, and that's why that guy's playing more reps right now.
Yeah, which is still an indictment, Bald, on Jordan
Oh,
Davis. I
absolutely.
get it. It's not his
You
role,
can't
but
be the 13th pick in a
Exactly.
rotation piece.
Exactly. Anthony Wilson says, listen, Hurts not playing well, but Mayfield, Purdy, and Stroud all struggle without their top playmakers this weekend. Keep that same energy. I mean, I think it's a fair point, but you got to be ready then to have the conversation that Jalen's just not elite.
So wait a minute. You're comparing Baker Mayfield, Purdy, Stroud is a rookie to Jalen Hurts, who has $50 million in the bank. There's only one guy that's making $50 million. Mayfield's a 30. Purdy's making $900,000, and Stroud's a rookie, and your guy makes $51 million. Okay, sure. Move on. I mean, give me a break, guy.
I love the chat, bro. They are some funny ass people, bro. Some of you people are actually hilarious. You guys have a career in comedy if you wanted it. Kimberly says it's not the end, but it's certainly not the beginning with Hurts. I think is that what she means? Not the beginning with Hurts. Yeah, well, it's not the end.
No,
definitely not. Yeah.
Kimberly, to your point, he's trending down. He's trending down as a player. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. Bald Eagle says Henry will break Dean. Dean has tackled him with one arm in his rookie year. What are you saying? All right.
Yeah.
Bald Eagle.
Dude, come on. Derrick Henry last night.
Dude, Derrick Henry is a beast, bro.
Dude,
I mean, come on.
Do you think he's the best? You think he's the best player Nick Saban had in his time at Alabama?
I tell you what, boy, you've been critical of Alabama players. There's a lot of Bama players in the league right now making plays left and right. Marlon Humphrey, 2 picks last night. Brian Branch and Detroit.
No, I think No. I thought I was critical of Georgia guys.
No. Oh, come on. Every time I tell you Bama's great, you're like, how many Hall of Famers do you have?
No,
I'm like,
how
you
many
can't be in the Hall of Fame and you're still playing.
No, how many fucking All-Pros do you have from Bama?
There's a lot.
Who?
There's a lot coming up right now.
Oh, coming up. Okay, Patrick Surtain's one for sure.
Minka Fitzpatrick's one. Brian Branch is going to be one this year. That dude last night with 2 interceptions is probably going to be one. Marlon Humphrey, by the way, who's been a lockdown player with them since he's been drafted.
Right,
I mean, there's a lot of good Bama guys in the league.
Fucking enough. Move on. Let's go here. Okay.
I can keep going too if you want me to.
Oh, well, I can keep going about Hall of Fame too if you want to do that.
All right. Let's see how it all shakes out in the end.
Oh, no. You don't have any Hall of Famers. I have one every year. Go ahead.
I know, but that's because the era of you is in the past now. Once we're 30 years in the future, there's going to be a lot more Bama Hall of Famers.
He just retired a year ago. Frank's going in. Vince Wilfork's going in. Reggie Wayne's going in. I don't. Go ahead. God, I'm here to help. Go ahead, super chat. Come on, let's go.
We're done. Guy. We got them all.
All right, we got them all. Oh, wait a minute.
We got them all.
Wait a minute. I want you to do me a favor.
Oh, wait, we got one more. No, there's new ones. We need the journalist with the unforgiving pen.
That ain't Paul Domowitz.
Or the talk show host with the unforgiving microphone.
Yeah, that's because I'm not a journalist. I'm never been one.
I'm not either, and never would
Journalists
I ever want to be one.
Okay.
John says, Sills Chase scare me. If they play off the ball, he's been known for 65-yard touchdowns on short routes. Also, what do you think is Burrow's game plan? It's a good question, and it's a good concern, John.
Crossing routes. Oh, my God, this is a favorite. I love that. Sills is a menace. I've always been a menace. On and off the field, bitch. I've always been a menace. Hey, I want you to do me a favor right now. One last thing I want you to do, Xander Krauss. One last thing. I want you to write down your 10 best quarterbacks right now.
No, you got to be kidding me. Right now?
Yeah, I'm going to give you mine.
All right, wait, I can do this because my list has changed drastically.
Okay. By the way, guys, please keep hitting the like button. You guys have been great. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been spectacular. Where are we on that?
Are you putting Mahomes number 1?
No.
I just have such a hard time.
No, I'm not. No. Okay. This is 24, dude. This is not.
I hear you.
Okay, this is not. No.
Yeah, well, you talk about things that have staying power. Super Bowl rings have some staying power. Losing in the Super Bowl, no staying power. I agree.
No.
3 in 6 years or whatever it is, that's got some staying power.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. Sills, would you trade for Cup? No. So we can have a $30 million wide receiver, $25 million wide receiver. Get this, Cosmo. You know how dumb that rumor is? Think about it, Cosmo. You're gonna have a $35 million wide receiver, a $25 million wide receiver, and a $28 million wide receiver, and you're gonna have the head coach go on WIP and go, "We're a running team."
That was.
I mean,
wait, that was pretty funny when he said that today.
Of course it is, because he's a dope.
Team.
You
All
ready?
right, I got 6. I got my 6 down. I'll get through the rest. You want to give me yours?
Yeah, here's my 10.
Okay.
I am going to stick with Jaden Daniels at number 10 for his body of work
Okay,
this
I like
year.
that.
So
That's
far.
pretty good. 10's good for him.
This is going to shock you. I got Kyler Murray at 9.
Ooh, that's a little high for me, but
dude.
Okay.
He's
okay.
I mean, he's playing really good ball, man.
He is. He's playing better. I mean, he's still. Did you see that one? You don't know the full play, but did you see that one play yesterday where Marvin Harrison had a double move and the dude is just literally there's no one within 20 yards of him.
Dude, that guy Marvin Harrison Jr. is some ball player.
Yeah, St. Joe's prep guy.
Let me say this to you. I messed up with him on the Heisman stuff a year ago. He was unbelievable. I got Sam Darnold at number 8.
Okay.
I got Joe Burrow number 7.
All right, I got Burrow a little higher than that. Joe Burrow is playing pretty good football right now, dude.
I got Stroud 6.
Okay.
I got Jordan Love 5. I've got Josh Allen 4. I've got Patrick Mahomes 3. Dude, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I got Jared Goff number 2.
Yeah, Jared Goff's in my top 5.
And I got Lamar Jackson, Baltimore, number 1. Those are my top 10.
All right. See, I might have messed up my list a little bit because I did it so damn quick, but I do have 10 here. I might have to swap him out.
Go ahead. Take your time here with that.
All right. Well, give me a second.
Here, let me read it again. Daniels 10, Murray 9, Darnold 8, Joe Burrow 7, probably a little low. CJ Stroud 6. You could probably flip that. Jordan, you could probably flip 5, 6, and 7. Jordan Love, Green Bay 5. Josh Allen 4. Patrick Mahomes 3. Jared Goff 2. Lamar Jackson 1. I got Jalen Hurts at number 20.
All right, well, I only did 10, so Jalen's not on mine. He's not on my 10.
I threw him in at 20.
Jay checks in. Jay wants to see Hurts in the top 10. He says this is a clown show if you don't have Hurts in the top 10. Come on,
in the top 20. He's 20th.
Hurts hasn't been a top 10 quarterback this year. You know that.
He hasn't been a top 10 quarterback in a year and a half.
All right, so there's one name on mine I want to change out. The rest I feel pretty good about. And you tell me what I would probably do it. I'd be open to move them. 10, I have Darnold.
Okay.
All right. 9 is the one I want to change out. I got Purdy right now, and I think I should probably change him out for Kyler Murray or someone like that.
That was my other guy from him. It was Purdy or
I think Purdy's fallen off a little bit in the last couple of weeks.
By the way, Murray has beaten Purdy this year.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we can scratch. I'll scratch Purdy and put Murray there for now. I think. All right, I'm fine with that. Number 8, I have Jordan Love. Number 7, I have Jaden Daniels. Number 6, I have CJ Stroud. Number 5, I have Jared Goff. Number 4, I have Joe Burrow. Number 3, I have Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Lamar Jackson. Number 1, Josh Allen.
Wow. You got Allen over Lamar.
Dude, I don't think people realize what Josh Allen's doing right now.
Hey, I know, no turnovers.
The dude is, I mean, the guy is playing unreal football.
I know.
Right now. He's got 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 108 quarterback rating. The dude is playing unreal football. Like, you don't have to like Sileo. You can hate on Sileo. I like good football.
No stars.
Josh Allen's playing unreal football right now.
Remember, everybody in here said that Josh Allen would struggle without Stephon Diggs?
Let's look at Lucius's list here. Yeah, and you're right, by the way. Goff 1. I'm not ready to go there because I think you could make the case, though.
Hey, Lucius, the last 3 games, he's got 150 quarterback rating. that off.
Sills, he's on a tear, dude.
I think it's 8 or 7 touchdowns and no picks in the last 3.
It's, unbelievable what he's doing right now. Lamar 2 is good. 3 Allen good. 4 Stroud, Mahomes, Love, Burrow, Murray, Daniels, Darnold. That's a pretty good list.
Yeah,
Lucius, good list right there.
That's a good list right there. Hey, let's look at Samuel here too. Let's see here. Lamar, Goff, Allen, Mahomes, Daniels, Jordan, Burrow, CJ Stroud. Come on, man. Sam Darnold. One start, you putting Russell Wilson in. Any list without Hurts on it in the top 10 is a good list.
I have no problem with this list other than Russell Wilson. I think he's got to do a little bit more than that.
Yeah. Russell Wilson. Right.
If anybody else put a top 10 in, I'll look at it. I don't think anybody did, though.
That's good. I got my top 10 NFL teams. I'm going to do that next in my MVP. Xander, you better tell John, man. They're a running team. Hey, they're a running team.
Right. Okay? How much should I come into tomorrow's show stirring the pot? Because some of Birds 365 Nation is a little upset with me. They like to when I sit back and let John go a little bit more.
Well, here, ask John how many passing attempts he thinks they're going to do. Since the last 2 games, they've had only 39.
I already know what his answer is going to be. That. Tell me if they're winning in the second half, and I'll tell you what the run-pass ratio is. That's
okay. Well, that means that their best player is taking the game over, which is their running back. Dude, the running back has had more attempts rushing than Jalen has had attempts passing in the last 2 games. Has he? In the last 3 games, has he not?
No, he has. He has.
Jalen had 14 attempts. Hey, he had 14 attempts. That's like a quarterback from Vanderbilt. Well, not this kid. That guy that beat you guys. Holy shit. A bunch of bookworms beat Alabama this year. Guys who are good usually at a spelling bee beat Alabama. Holy shit.
I'm back over into the comments section. Xander is Sills 2.0. Oh, my gosh, Sileo. Yeah. Oh, my Lord.
How could you let a spelling bee football team beat you guys at Alabama? How could that – in my lifetime, I can't remember Alabama losing to a team that was led by a guy who won the spelling bee contest. I mean, shit, dude. You got guys who were on there that participated in punt, pass, and kick. Holy shit, dude. Vanderbilt is like Alabama's C team.
Dude, DeBoer is the bust.
He is.
And what do you want? What do you want, dude?
Oh, wait a minute.
Can I just say this, though? Because I love Alabama. Honestly, I might be a bigger Alabama fan than anything.
I bet you Nick comes back.
No, he's not going to come back. He's loving his media life right now, dude. It's easy. He's working a couple days a week. Dude's got at his house down in Jupiter. He's golfing. Everybody loves him.
$6 million on game day.
Everybody loves him. I mean, come on. It's way different for Nick right now. But here's what I'll say. When you have a coach as great as Nick Saban, it's a blessing and a curse once they leave because you will never duplicate what they were able to do. And you'll watch the Patriots go through that right now with Bill Belichick on. You watch the Miami Hurricanes go through it when Jimmy Johnson left. You watch the Cowboys go through it when Jerry Jones has come into power. You don't replace greatness at that level ever. So the unfortunate reality conversation I've had with myself is that Alabama is probably going to suck for the better part of the next 20 years.
You know what? I hate to tell you this because I had to deal with it.
I know.
When I was with my wife, we just got together. We started losing some games. This was like 20 some odd years ago. I looked at my wife said this to me. My wife was the producer of my show during my radio career. She goes, "What do you think University of Miami is going to do what you guys did?" And I went, "Yeah, they're going to continue doing that." She's like, "Good luck." It's been 22 years later. I've had one 10-win team.
I know. Boy, I hope we can manage it a little bit better than you. And I think we probably will have the chance to with the NIL, right? I mean,
and the SEC.
Yeah, and the SEC and some of those things. But
that's the thing that
I mean, look, I think that's the brutal truth with Bama right now is, you lost Nick Saban. Like all of our expectations for that team for Bama fans is shattered.
Look at this guy here. So Jimmy Johnson left 2 organizations
Oh my God,
crippled.
what a stupid take that is.
Am I mistaken here, Samuel, that didn't Barry Switzer, who never coached pro football, take over for Jimmy and they won a Super Bowl? Did you forget that?
Sills, how many titles did Jimmy Johnson win, both in the NFL and college?
Well, here, he won 1 as a player at Arkansas. He won 1 as a college football coach. But remember, he only stayed 5 years at all places.
Yeah.
Right. But every year but 1, he played for the national title. And then he won 2 Super Bowls and was credited with building that 3rd one. And Barry, you heard Barry on the program go.
Yeah.
He walked into Jerry Jones's office and said this: "How could you 2 guys fuck this up? How could you 2 guys fuck this thing up?" And he went on, he goes, "My number 1 job was to stay out of the way."
Yeah.
And that's how they won that Super Bowl. Just remember that. Leaving him in ruin. And by the way, Dave Wannstedt went on to win 54 games in 5 years and the last coach to win a playoff game for the Dolphins.
I don't think Samuel meant how that came across. He says not because Jimmy was bad, but because Jerry couldn't recover. Well, that's a different take,
That's a different take.
than how it sounded. Yeah.
Absolutely. Samuel, he's never been the personnel guy that Jimmy was. Absolutely. Xander, I've kept you on long enough, man. Absolutely great stuff. Hit the like button. Xander, where are we on that like list right now?
Let me check it out for everybody.
By the way, you guys have been great with the super chats, and we
306, man. That's love. Appreciate everybody, man. 306. That's tremendous.
Very good. Let's see if we can get that bad puppy up to 350 by the top.
Yes, I've been telling everybody real quick. I'll say it on the way out. I've been telling everybody. Apparently, the likes matter more in the first 10 minutes of the show. This is new YouTube data I have been given. So the first 10 minutes when you guys check in, whether you watch it after or live, smash that like button. Should we rip through a couple? We got a couple more supers. You want to rip through them?
Yeah, let's do it.
Bird Gang says, Xander thinking we're listening to Birds 365 because of him is laughable. We're only on JAKIB because this is where John is. Bird, I know that. I know that show is for John.
By the way, that's fantastic. You're not going to like everybody. That's what.
And I'm fine with that. People do check in for John.
By the way, Xander, that's called versatility on your network.
Unlike Bird, you want me to just sit there and fucking hum and mum and let John talk for 2 hours, dude? Or do you want to create some fodder? I mean, come on, Bird Gang. But I get it. I know you're not there for me. I've never professed to think you were there for me. And then for those who are, I appreciate them too. AJ Crickets broke those records and checked out.
Yeah, I love Kimbo. I do.
Hey, Sills, is Prince a certified jerk train? I don't even know what that means.
Prince? I have a love-hate relationship with that dude. I don't know. Sometimes I like him. Sometimes I don't. I'm good. I'm 90% of the time, I think I'm all right with him.
Yeah, Prince took a little too many L's today for me.
Yeah, too many L's, man. I tell you what. Hey, Prince, I'm going to tell you a couple of the 3 things here, all right? All right. You think Garrett or Crosby get moved? Well, the Browns need a quarterback. And
the Browns are entering.
Raiders need a quarterback.
Both of those are entering rebuild mode. That's why I think it's possible.
Yeah, because you know why? You're going to need first-round draft choices to move up. Okay, you're going to want to tank the season. If I'm the Browns, dude, don't you lose the rest of your games? Don't you just lose the rest of them and then get a rookie on a rookie contract?
Yeah, right.
Eat that money that you have and you blow the guy out and you just pay the guy to go away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, LJ says Xander's balding like crazy. LJ, it's sad but true, man. It really is. I mean, I can't ever go full Sills and do the slick back like Sills. I think I'm gonna be bald by the time I'm 35.
LJ has to be a chick.
He might be.
He has
you know what? Wait, I'll tell you. You know what the story is with LJ?
Tell me, please, because
he's a Canadian. He's from
Canadian?
Canada.
He's a Canadian.
He dropped a super chat one time, and it was Canadian dollars, and I'm like, that explains LJ. No, Canadians are all fuddy-duddies like that.
Oh, my God, he's a Canadian. Holy cow, he's a wormy Canadian. Eh?
He's a Canadian.
Hey, it should be LJ. Eh?
Yeah, Flex agreed. Flex, I get a lot of that, man. People worried about my appearance. I'm like, yo, dude, it's all good, man. Just listen to the content and tell me if you like it or don't. I mean, what the hell?
Actually,
Would you
Xander's taller than you think.
would you swap AJ for DK?
No.
I wouldn't either. I like AJ Brown better than
Nope.
DK.
Nope.
Eagles all day says, I like everybody on JAKIB. Appreciate it, bro.
Look at that.
Appreciate
Thank you
it,
very
man.
much, Eagle.
I think we got all of them now.
All right,
We got
let's
a couple more.
get the hell out of here, man.
All right, I got some work to do. Everybody, stay tuned on the channel tonight. I will be posting up clips from the show. Eric Allen, obviously, coming up first. What a great interview that was.
You're gonna clip some sound bites from the interview. Okay.
Wait. Are you talking about the
No, that's just between me and you there. No. Go ahead. I want you to make sure you get to Eric Allen. I wouldn't want you to
Sileo goes. Sileo
I don't want you to
on
blow
Sileo
Silver
time.
anyway, but hey, don't worry
I
about
started
it.
this morning. I'm on Z time, Big Sills. No, but I did, by the way, just real quick, business on the air. I did look for it, Sills. I can't find that specific bite. I got to listen to the whole interview again. I'll listen to it.
All right, man. Xander, we'll catch you on Birds 365 in the morning.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Great show, Sills. Catch you tomorrow, brother.
Hit the like button. We'll give you my top 10 NFL teams and also my MVP race. Big Sills has a vote. How you doing? Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Got a little business to do here. Let it go through the cracks here a little bit. Don't forget our great friends at BetUS. If you're looking for a sports book this football season for college and pro, make sure you go with our friends at BetUS. We have teamed up with them, and right now they have their YouTube 150 sign-up bonus up to 2K there for you. Your second is at 125%. Your third is also at 125%, all the way up to 2K, 200%. And sign-up bonuses in crypto as well. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year. Live wagering on all major games. That's betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Appreciate everybody coming aboard as you always do. Thank you guys again. Please hit that like button for us, and we appreciate it. I'm going to give you my takeaways here, but I'm going to also say this. Before we go with the top 10 teams in the NFL, where would you rank the Eagles right now? Where would you put the Eagles? $10. 4. What a dope. Top 5. What a dope. You're not even favored in the fucking Bengal game. 14th. 30th. Look at these guys. The Bengals are 3-4, and they're favored over you, and they're 4th. Reyes. Vegas and Atlantic City thinks the Bengals are better than you. 11th. 5th. No, they're not. Top 15. I'm with Brian, probably. If I were going to rank the Eagles right now, you're probably 15th. Between 12 and 15. Hey, Kimbo, if you're still in here, where would you rank them? I got them between 12 and 15. Xander, where would you put them? I got them between 12 and 15. Somewhere in there. 9th. Come on, man. You're not even favored in the next game against an under 500 team. How do you justify that? You can't. John does a great job for us. I love people with different opinions. John is a great writer, but I watch for you, Xander, because John is freaking born. Hey, a lot of people there's a guy in here, man, who said it too, though, Kimbo. I mean, a lot of people in here. Look at this guy. Hey, dude, you're a cruel person? Oh. Really? I'm so sorry. Come on, honey. Come on home. You okay, honey? Are you all right, sweetheart? Is that better? Come on, man. You all right, sweetie? I won't be so mean to you. All right, honey? I never called you names. Dude, seriously, you're making me very uncomfortable. I don't succumb to this and hide under my desk. You know, when people call people racist and they start talking like this, I don't hide under my desk. Okay? I don't hide under it. I don't care what that means. You're so mean. Big bad sales. I never called you names. You should have. That's how you fight back. That's how I know you don't have any balls. Have some balls, dude. Fight back. Shows me you're a man. Be kind to people. Oh, my God. How wormy. Very uncomfortable. I'd send Kim and Sue after your ass, dude. They would stomp you down like they were like doormen, like Nick Sirianni at a strip club. What are you kidding? Y'all do a great job. Different opinions. I love it. Me too, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Oh, what are you, one of those guys telling people how to vote? I'd never tell you how to vote, Anthony. What's it to you, whoever I vote for? What's it fucking to you? How's that your business? Doesn't it really blow your mind when you hear people talking about companies and other people when they're talking about voting? Coming up in a couple weeks, so it's one of the biggest topics going around. I love people try to tell people how to vote, where to vote, take vaccinations, take not vac. That's not my job, man. Make your own decisions. Some of you don't have a brain, so you can't make your own decisions, so you have to follow others. It's called sheep. It's called sheep. So it's weak to be nice to others? No. In this world, nice guys finish last. Got to fight for things in this world. Dude, that's rainbows and butterflies. Hardest guy you'll fight every day is life. That shit right there is it's not real. That's not real. Come on, kid. You must be 15. It's all good. Let me give you my top 10 teams. Okay? Let me give you my top 10 teams. I got the Eagles between 12 and 15. Hey, yeah, that's a good one. Forte. Rocky. You know, I got to go out there and fight. You know? That kid, Spider Rico. Yeah. Hey, that's kind of like who the Eagles have played. Spider Rico. Shows you got to be careful. Some of these people are fools, are religious. Hey, Abe, don't bring your religion in here because I don't want to hear your religion or your politics. I don't care. Your religion and politics has nothing to do with me. Nothing. Get this. This guy says this show's depressing. He's here 4 days. He's here 5 days a week, 4 hours. Congratulations. Good night. Hey, I must suck so bad that this guy watches 20 hours of broadcasting a week. That's kind of wild. Sileo, you get this. I'm going to do an M. Reyes for you. Xander, you'll like this. Ready? Sileo, you suck so bad that I sit here for 5 days a week, 20 hours of broadcasting, and you suck all 4 hours in 5 days. I mean, dude, you got to look at this guy. This guy gets a hard on for being recognized. I didn't know I had that much power. Got him? Got me what? You see what I'll do after the program? I'll crack a Corona and not remember your name until tomorrow until I see it. There's my girl, Sue. Sue's my free safety. Kimbo's my strong safety. Those are my two starters to make sure no one gets behind. Can I say that, girls? Hey, can I say that? My two safeties, Sue and Kimbo. The reason that they're my strong safeties because I don't want no one to get behind. I think that sounds okay. I'm not sure. I have to clear that with my old lady. I'm not quite sure on that. Okay? Yeah, and one of them goes like this. Don't put me in heels. I don't wear heels, guy. What are you? Stupid? Because if I wore heel sills, I'd be eating soup off of M. Reyes's head. Where's Jessica? Jessica left because she got called out for a dumb take. It's okay if Jessica wants to come back and fight back, unlike that one dude. She could be back there also in the slot. She could be my slot nickel. I said slot. Slot nickel. All right. Here are my top 10 teams and my MVP vote with NFL Players Association. Okay? I'm here every day. I can take it. And you do. Oh, look at Forrest. See this? That's a boo. What, you think you could talk shit to Sue? Or Jessica? Because why? They're chicks? Well, how about you, dingbat? Got to stick up for my teammate here. Sue's a sports person. Come on. There you go, Forrest. That's right. Emre, shut up. Here we go. Number 10. She's a nice lady. How the fuck do you know? You could be a guy that's 500. You know what my wife tells me when people text me and send me nice pictures? I learned this a long time ago. My wife goes like this. Hey, so you got a nice DM from somebody with a really nice body, right? I go, yeah. Do you see that? She goes, yeah, I'm sure. Hey, Xander, get this. Xander. Hey, I'll be your QB, elite reader of defenses. Hey, my wife goes, so you really think that's the same person that sent you that picture? And it's somebody like LJ from Canada with a cock ring on right now, and he's sending you pictures of a chick that's really hot. Don't you understand who that is? It's a dude sitting in his basement in Canada, and his name is LJ. I mean, what else could it be? All right. Look. Oh, man. I'm so glad I could do shows like this. I've always wanted to. Yeah. I don't care, man. That was an accident clicking on you. Let's see here. Who said something about the Niners? There we go. Oh, God. This guy posts so much bullshit. I can't get through it. Oh, my God. Stay up in Canada eating your maple syrup, kid, in your basement or whatever the fuck you do with your cock ring on. All right. Here we go. Big Sil's top 10 NFL teams. Are you ready? Here we go. Houston Texans, number 10. At number 9, James Jones. Are you in here? Are you in here, James Jones? Number 9, the Washington Commanders. Number 8, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 7, the Buffalo Bills. Number 6. Ooh, this was a tough one. Number 6. Let me check this out here. Number 6. I think I'm going to change the Texans down to 10. And I'm going to move that Commanders. No, I'm going to move the Steelers up to 6. Number 5, the Green Bay Packers. Number 4, the Minnesota Vikings. Number 3, the Detroit Lions. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. And number 1, till you beat them, the 6-0 Kansas City Chiefs. All right. I get a vote for the NFL Players Association and the NFL alumni. This. You know those award show you see every year, NFL honors? Well, that's what this is. And I get a vote on the player of the year in college. Or no, defensive, offensive, MVP, coach of the year. And everybody who's a member gets the vote. I even voted for your guy one year. That was in 22. That was a long time ago, though. Here is my MVPs. Number 10. I got Baker Mayfield at number 10. Number 9. CJ Stroud. What's your thoughts on trade for Alvin Kamara? But I prefer a pass rusher. It's not horrible, but they're going to want something. They're going to want something, and you need an edge rusher. Go get the kid Trey. Hey, if Cincinnati wins this weekend and they even their record beating the Eagles and they go to 4-4, all bets are off on Trey Hendrickson. I think that's your guy. Number 9, CJ Stroud. Number 8, Jordan Love. This is for the MVP and my MVP vote. Number 7, Sam Darnold. That's one of my favorite players, dude. I love that guy. He is a ball hawk and a massive hitter. He's kind of injury prone, but I dig that guy, man. But they're good, man. The Chargers are in the playoff race. Man, but I love him. Boy, you put him on a Vic Fangio defense in the future. You have him back there, Sidney Brown. Dude, you got the Legion of Boom back there. That guy can fucking play, man. Derwin James, he's one of my favorite players in the league. I like him, man. What a good player. Number 6, Joe Burrow. Number 5, I got Derrick Henry. Number 4, I got Patrick Mahomes. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 2, Jared Goff. Number 1 is Lamar. Dude, the Baltimore Ravens have 2 guys in the top 5 for MVP consideration. And they look like the best team in the league right now. How you doing? Dude, unbelievable. Derrick Henry and Lamar. Yeah, Lamar's just playing really good football right now. Playing really exceptional football. Henry over Barkley? By far. Dude, are you under the assumption that Saquon Barkley's having a better year than Derrick Henry? How many touchdowns does Derrick Henry have already? Was it 9? Plus he caught a TD pass last night. I mean, how many let's see what he's on pace for right now. Dude, Henry's having such like Derrick Henry's averaging Xander in that game against the Bucs, he averaged 11 yards a carry. For the season, Derrick Henry's averaging 7 yards a carry, and he's now projected to gain 2,120 yards and 20 touchdowns. Yes, I'm taking him over Barkley. He's on pace for almost 2,200 yards. Yes, I'm taking Henry over Barkley. All right, freaks. That was awesome with Eric Allen today. We're working also on Clyde Simmons as well this week, too. And we're going to work on some Bengal guys, too, to talk a little bit about the Cincinnati Bengals. That's the next opponent up, obviously, on Sunday. Hey, is tomorrow Battle Royale? Well, the Cowboys had a good week. They didn't play. Philly 500 will be with us, and we're hoping. Guys, you were great. Please hit the like button. Xander and Big Joe, we thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, We really appreciate our great friends at BetUS. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate that. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you on the flip side.